Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fink.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph, Childress.
DJ Khaled, you know the big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands grown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner. You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
They have no swag. They have no nothing.
Jerome McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 after dark.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Field of 68 After Dark. We are live at Huss Brewing here in downtown Phoenix. It is the downtown location for Huss Brewing. It is a local Arizona brewery owned by Lee and Jeff Huss. Randolph, we talked about this yesterday. Jeff Huss is the cousin of High Point head coach Alan Huss. How about that?
Hey, great beer.
You're not a beer guy though. So.
I'm not a beer. The bottles look pretty though.
Yeah, but what else do they have here for you?
Oh, they got my old fashioned. I mean, I'm gonna stop this. This is too early in the morning to be talking about this.
$24 for 24 beers. $24 for a case. That's $1 a beer. Best deal you're gonna find in the state of Arizona. Randolph.
Sounds good. I'm not a beer guy though.
So we're here for the Final Four, of course, and I was over at the stadium today. You slept in. I think you might have gotten a couple rounds of golf in.
No.
You went to the driving range?
I did. Yes, I did. I did swing the club a little bit today.
How you feeling?
I feel great. I swung a golf club today. You're going to get my best day today. My best. Not that I was bad yesterday. You get my better day today.
You were better on the drive home. Better on the drive home. All right. So there's a lot of things that I want to get to today. We're going to be joined by Jeff Goodman and John Fanta here in a little bit. We have 3 or 4 special guests that we're going to be rotating through, and we have some interviews that we were able to land at the stadium earlier today. Braden Smith, Matt Painter, Nate Oates, and Mark Sears. We were able to catch up with all of them at the stadium earlier. I want to start on Mark Sears because I do think that the most interesting matchup, and maybe the most influential matchup in the UConn-Alabama game is going to be how Mark Sears deals with Stephen Castle. Stephen Castle is your guy. Stephen Castle is a potential top 10 pick and one of the best defenders in college basketball. He shut down Boo Buie. Everyone thought Boo Buie was going to go off. He shut down Boo Buie. Shut down Terrence Shannon. Everyone thought Terrence Shannon was going to go nuts. Didn't do anything. Now he's got Mark Sears, who is coming off a game where he hit 7 threes in a row and completely took over the second half to beat Clemson. What does Mark Sears have to do to find a way to win that matchup with Stephen Castle?
I don't think he has to do anything other than their system and what he does in general. I mean, he's going to be able to play with the ball and without the ball. The difference in like Boo Buie is everything starts and stops with him. The difference with this Alabama team is there are other guys to get involved and get going in the game. So he's going to be able to get, spacing and get the ball and let them make plays, and he just benefit and just get shots. So he doesn't have to always attack. So the question I would have for Castle is he's had to be disciplined off the ball. It's a lot harder to guard someone off the ball because you got to be so distant, so conscious of where they are, but you got help responsibilities. And a guy like Sears, you want to be locked on him. When he has the ball in his hand, it's easier to guard the ball. So we'll see how he does with that. I think he has a level of experience over Steph.
Yeah, and look, the thing for me is that the way that the Alabama offense works is you got to get the paint touches and the kickouts.
Yes.
Right? Like that's what they're trying to get.
Right.
And that kind of starts with Mark Sears. He's the head of the stake. He's the first guy to get that action. He's the first player to get into the lane and create the closeout. If he's not able to do that, where does Alabama go? How does the offense function? What are they trying to do?
I think he will. I mean, he's too good of a player. You're not going to stop him from doing that. Where he's dangerous is the explosion like he did from the three-point line. So getting in the paint because he attacks you so much. And the reason I say it's not going to be as challenging because how is UConn going to guard ball screens? They're not going to bring Klingon up at the three-point line to guard ball screens. So he's going to be able to get into the rim, and there's going to be some type of rotation. So that's where I say the matchup where I think he's going to be effective. There's different teams, and the way this team plays, they're going to get their matchups. He's going to get in the paint because you're not going to blitz him with the way they space the floor and the way they shoot the three. So just that style of attacking, I think you'll see Klingon up a little higher than normal, but I still think he'll be somewhat in some drop coverage. And if they're switching, then, we're looking at a really interesting game if UConn has to change what they usually do.
Yeah, that's the big question that I have for UConn is I would fully expect Nate Oates to play like a Jaron Stevenson at the 5, right? To use the lineups where Grant Nelson is your 5-man, to try to have the defense set up in a way that you're forcing Donovan Klingon to have to play on. I don't think this is a Nick Pringle game. As good as he was against Clemson, I don't think this is a Nick Pringle game. I think you need to be able to pull Klingon away from the basket. If you don't, you're just asking for trouble.
Well, you would say that, but maybe you can – can they get away with the matchups? Can they just bring him in when Klingon go to the bench, right? And you need to put him in there for a time or two. But I do agree with you. As a lob threat, you want him in there, screen, maybe rolling hard to get a lob threat to force the weak side in so I can kick to the corner. So there's still a role for him. But overall, the better they put and have a shooter in that spot, I think changes everything for him. Like we talked about, we've said it 100 times. They got to make threes.
What makes Mark Sears so good? Goodman he always is talking about this. I can't tell you how many times he said, I don't understand how hard, how Mark Sears can do what he does. Like, how can you not stop him?
Constantly in attack mode. He's a skilled offensive guy. If you watch him, he's shifty. He can just flat out shoot it. So when you can shoot it.
How was my Goodman impression, by the way? Was it pretty good?
It's pretty good.
Not
pretty
bad?
Good. Yeah, you didn't curse, but we'll get to that. You got to curse and you'll have it down.
I didn't say enough dumb stuff. That was the other problem.
There you go. But no, he's shifty, and when you can shoot it that well, you can play inverted. And what I mean is he can play outside and play off that. You have to be close enough to him to allow him, to take away his three, and it allows him to get in the paint. And even at his size, he's a good finisher, good floater. He's just a talented offensive player, and he's deserving of all the accolades that he's gotten. Credit to him getting on the big stage and showing you what he's about.
And he's strong.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing I don't think people realize is he's got shoulders.
He's a compact guy.
Yeah, he's got shoulders where it looks like he spent plenty of time in the weight room. He's doing the Arnold Palmer presses or the Arnold Schwarzenegger presses?
He's not doing the
8-ounce curls.
Yeah, he's not doing the curls. He's doing it the right way.
Yeah, he doesn't have the beach muscles. He has the real muscles. No, but what he's able to do is kind of put his shoulder into. That's why he gets all that separation. Yeah. He puts his shoulder into you, and there's something you bounce off.
And again, and like we said, he's physical, he's strong, and he can shoot it from deep, and you have to guard him with distance. So any fake, you go for it, and then he gets by you, and that's what they need. He needs for him to score and then to create for his teammates as well.
Yeah. What do you make of the comparisons? It's the easy comparison. It's the lazy comparison to make, and it's the one that I hate the most, honestly, I think. But Mark Sears to Jalen Brunson.
He's not. Listen, I understand people would say that, but correct me if I'm wrong. Jalen Brunson was like a national player of the year, and I mean, stop it. Like 2-time national champion, like that. That's like, let's stop that. Like I get the comparison. He's short and all that, but like Jalen Brunson was that dude. He'd put you in the post. He's posting you up. Like, I played against Jalen Brunson in college, and we had to trap him in the post. Mm-hmm. So there's just a different dude when you're talking about that. So he's a talented player. He's different. I don't know if I agree with that comp, but I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, he's all the step back jumpers.
Yeah, he's more outside and in.
And trying where Jalen Brunson's game was kind of built on, all right, I'm going to get into the paint and make something happen. And
he played like he was 6'8".
Yeah, and also I can shoot.
Yes.
Whereas Mark Sears is a shooter where it's like also I can get into the lane. You know what really
he plays inverted. He plays outside in where I thought Brunson played inside out.
Yes.
Even though their sizes are similar.
Honestly, I thought Brunson was going to be a good pro. I didn't think he was going to be this good of a pro.
No one
did.
No one did.
That's a credit to the kid and his work ethic.
No one did. He plays. He's the type of kid you ought to emulate in how he plays instead of watching these uber athletic guys. He's a 6'1", 6 foot, unathletic, below the rim guard that's just dominating games with fundamentals. And if you want to emulate someone, Jalen Brunson's a guy you need to go in your house and play and not watch the Euro steps and all that stuff. Play off 2 feet, create space that way. That's why he's such a fun person.
I think we got a guest showing up. Our first guest of the day is here. BYU head coach Mark Pope. Coach, you want to jump on? Come get in here. BYU head coach Mark Pope. We are live. So just know that the mic is hot. The mic is hot, Coach.
Be careful what you say.
Yep. Good seeing you, man. How we
Try not
doing?
to get fired.
Hey,
how are you guys?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Good. Are we on? Look at this.
Mm-hmm. We are on live. It's
Man,
pretty cool. It's not a bad setup, right?
No. I'm telling you, the three of us, I'm the least attractive man here. That is super disappointing.
So
see, you're getting nervous right now. You're like, are we sure that we want to have this cat on here?
No, not at all. Hey, I'm more like you than him. So I feel that way. I feel like I got somebody more like me now.
Coach, first year in the Big 12, BYU head coach. How looking back on the season, I think it's fair to say it was a success,
Yeah.
at least from our eyes. How do you view it?
It was magic, man. Like, I just, anything short of winning a national championship, you end the season a little bit sad. But from where people thought we could be, this has been a 2-year project in the making for us. And with all the anticipation of moving to the Big 12, for us, 2 years kind of project. But for BYU, a 100-year project to try and get in a league like this. And it was better than we possibly could have anticipated. Clearly, we performed really, really well. But just loving, like, it was so fun, right? As a competitor, as a coach, as a player, as a fan base, to be able to be in this league and face that every single night is the greatest thing ever.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard a coach say playing in the Big 12 is fun. Everyone else is like,
gosh.
man, this sucks.
It's like heaven, guys. It's like heaven. Like, you get to go compete. Like, your guts are all over the floor every single night. And you could play great and lose by 20, right? And it just is magic.
It's got to be great to be able to have success like this. Now we're in the offseason,
Yeah.
right? How do you feel about the portal going on right now, doing the tournament and everything? How does that, for a guy like you, the success, you get here now.
Yeah.
You don't even get a chance to celebrate the year you had.
Yes. It's really hard. It is a massive challenge. It's a new challenge. And I love every bit of it because you think about the last 2 weeks. My guys on my roster can attest this. We have spent more time going on walks and having long, deep, intense conversations about what really motivates them, what they really care about, like where they really want to focus their life. And we're having to have those conversations because of the portal and NIL and everything else. And all of those conversations help us do the job that we're supposed to do, which is to mentor these kids, to shepherd them, to Sherpa them, to like help them grow. And so all these complications are forcing us to do it better, and I dig it, man. I love it.
Well, you get involved in it with your guys, so you're actually involved in the point of helping your guys, whether they want to go in or – so you have a better idea of what they're thinking even when it comes to them going in.
And not just helping, but just knowing them better, right? Like, and helping them know themselves. Like all these challenges, like portal, NIL, everything else involved, is forcing guys to search inside themselves and find out what their value system is, right? And so when you get to help somebody know themselves better, that's actually super powerful, man. I love it. It's super scary and really frustrating, but it the core of what we're supposed to do as coaches and mentors, it actually is helping us with our job.
How do you balance that side of it versus the basketball side of it, right? Like, let's say you got a kid where you realize maybe he's not quite good enough for the level that you guys are going to be at in the Big 12, but he's also a kid that you adore. He's a player that you've seen grow over the years. He's the human being that you want in your program, and he decides that he wants to stay, and you don't know if it. Like, how do you balance that side of it?
Let me answer that for you, Coach, and I'll have to say that. Depends on how many guys he's got. If I got my top 10 guys and he's the 11th, 12th guy, 13th guy, it's okay. No, I'm sorry.
No. Hey,
but
no.
It matters because there's a business side to this.
Yes.
There's a business side. Let's be honest. So if I've got my rotational guys and he wants to be a part of it, most coaches feel as though it's a part of it. Am I wrong for saying that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all like the one thing is we're not trying to grow up. It's not tennis. We're not trying to take Roger Federer and make him the greatest tennis player ever, right? In some ways, that seems like a more simple thing. We're trying to construct a team that functions better. And for example, our team actually functioned where we were probably functioning a way higher level than the sum of our parts, right? And so all of those calculations come into play for our guys and for our staff as we trying to put together a team. Because you know what? We don't actually have to be the best player on the court. We got to be the best team. And that team is like this really complex, artistic, not objective, not scientific stew of like all the things that go into it. And it's what makes coaching fun. It's what makes playing on a team fun. You know, I just had a conversation with one of my players who had a huge impact on us in games this year, but has the potential to change our entire team with his voice. And that might be more important than anything we do schematically. And those are real things.
The development of some of your guys this season, Jackson, for example, coming off the bench as did he end up your leading scorer?
Yeah, he was our leading
Yeah.
scorer.
When you have a guy that is one willing to make the
Okay, this is a problem. This is live. My compliance officer is calling.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
You got to get that.
Chad. All right, so hopefully I didn't just say something illegal. Did I just say something to myself? He may very well be watching this, like, you can't say that. Shout out to the great Chad Gwilliam. One of the hardest jobs in college athletics right now is being a compliance officer.
Almost mission impossible.
Oh, it's hard. He's good, though. He's really good. He drives me crazy, but he's really good.
That's what they're supposed to do,
Yeah,
right?
it is, exactly.
That's the
He
name.
keeps
That's
it
the
on
name of the
straight
game.
and narrow for sure.
So Jackson, the
Yeah.
development he made this season, and the sacrifice that he made to come off the bench as a leading scorer.
Yeah.
What kind of impact did that have, like on the program,
Yeah.
on the players, on everyone else? That's got to be powerful.
He was a great teacher this year. Actually, he was a great teacher to his teammates and the coaching staff. So, what was really great about Jax is he was like, I don't care. I want to do what I can to help the team. That was it. Like, I don't care if I start. He came off the bench. He started a little bit in the middle of the season, then went back to coming off the bench. He's like, I don't care. I just want to help the team. And, this guy's coming off the bench for most of the season, becomes the sixth man of the year in the Big 12, and is our best draft prospect this year. And he's really special. And it just proves all the other stuff is fake, right? Starting doesn't get you drafted. Playing great gets you drafted. Being about a team gets you drafted. And so he's been a great example to all of us, and we're hoping the best for him as he moves forward.
Who influenced you the most as a coach? Where do you think you draw upon
Yeah.
your coaching philosophy?
Man, that's really hard. I think I've tried to take. I've been really blessed to play and work with great coaches. There's slice of Coach Pitino that I would love to take because that dude wins everywhere he goes. And Larry Bird, there's little pieces of him, and George Carl, and my high school coach Rich Belcher, and Mike Malone, the coach of the NBA champion Denver Nuggets, was a video assistant when I was playing with the Knicks, and we would run the stairs every day. And I'm trying
Did you hear all the names he just mentioned, by the way?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh,
and
wow.
we can keep going because this world is so small. I didn't even mention Mark Fox, who got me started in the business, but so you hope you kind of steal a little slice of each of those guys. There's not a lot of originality in basketball, but if you can kind of steal the right stuff and put it together, it gets fun.
You do. It's interesting you say that because you do run a style that is not exactly the norm in college
I would have
basketball.
loved that play for you.
You watch this, you're like,
my
what
God,
are they doing?
No. I would have loved that play for you.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Where did the decision that this is the way that we're going to play?
Yep.
How did you develop
Well, it
that
was super
offense?
fun. We talked about this a lot. We were in the WCC for my first 4 years at BYU. It's just a great basketball league.
I can't believe you've been there for
It's a
5 years,
great
right?
basketball league. But when we were in that league, you kind of lived where you're trying to grow your floor as high as you could, because if you drop a game in the WCC, you could lose your at-large bid. You drop one game, right? So you kind of have to have the highest floor where you play to a certain level every single night. Going to the Big 12, we're like, how can we win any games? And so instead of us being on the defensive, kind of on our heel trying to be protective, we're just trying to be as bold and outrageous as we can to just win some games, right? And so that philosophy change was super fun for us. It was affected every way we affected the game, offensive and defensively. We started to do some crazy stuff, man, and it was so fun. And you know that it's not going to work every night, but you don't have to win every night. You got to win enough nights. And so we're going to keep trying to refine that, but it was sure a fun way for our guys to play this year, and we dig it.
When did you graduated in 96?
96.
96.
Yep.
So you were on the team that won in 96.
Yes.
Talking to some of those other guys that came back, like we're looking at UConn trying to repeat as national champions.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to get back to that mountaintop?
Well, I mean, it was interesting as us. We lost 4 or 5 guys off that 96 team, and Coach P just like, yep, we're going to run it back with all young guys and go do it again. And what those guys did, and then of course Tubby came in the third year and went back and won it again, right? What's really impressive with what UConn's done so far is you feel like you reach the mountaintop and it changes you. It has to change you, and it doesn't feel like it's changed these guys. And that is a credit to those kids and a credit to that staff. Somehow it hasn't changed them where it's made them less urgent. It feels like they're more together and more urgent. It's really impressive to watch. It's going to be fun to see what they can do these last in this Final Four.
Give me your best Coach Pitino story from back in the day. You got to give me something good.
Are we? Is this a rated? Is
No,
this
no,
like,
no. They have a
you
dump
say
button.
that now.
They can
That's
bleep
why.
it out. They can bleep it out.
That's why.
That's officer called you for.
That's
He was
why
like,
Jack
don't you
called me.
start
He's like,
talking
"Don't
about
go." Man, I'm going to give you a story that I think is super beautiful for me about our run to the national championship. So, in the semifinals, we played UMass. UMass was the number 1 team in the country all year long. We started number 1. They beat us in the second game of the season. Marcus Camby, that great backcourt, just so tough.
Was that the start of the Rick Pitino, John Calipari?
Yeah, it was in there, right? And so what was pretty incredible was we win the semifinal game, and this is it, man. Coach has been in Kentucky for 6, 7, 8 years. Kentucky hasn't won a national championship in 20 years. This was our destiny. This is what we were supposed to do. If we don't win this thing, we are absolute failures. And it's all come to this massive crescendo. And so and Coach P, you guys might not know this, but he sometimes can get relatively animated, right? And
No, come on,
and
man.
so we go to
way.
film the next morning, okay? And so we have a 2 days to prep. We go to breakfast the next morning, and I kid you not, one of the most startling things that happened was I was ready for Coach to give us one of his famous impassioned speeches about we're here, the finals, whatever. And all he did is we finished up breakfast, he just leaned back in his chair and he's like, Obi, put in the tape. There was no speech, no nothing. And everything was status quo going into that championship game. Like, he was the most calm he probably ever was all year long. And I thought it was a stroke of genius on his part. And it was kind of probably fighting all the human impulses, and it stuck with me forever. I thought it was brilliant. And he's got so many brilliant moments like that.
Was it that just trying to take the stress off of playing?
Yeah, and he was just like, hey, this is nothing new. He just normalized the whole experience. There's nothing normal about getting ready to play in the championship game in New York, in the Meadowlands, right? There's nothing, but he just normalized it. So let me tell you what we're used to. Walter McCarty, I'm about to throw you under the bus. Okay? Walter McCarty, one of my great friends, dear friends at at Kentucky. So we're playing athletes in action in a preseason game. This is what we lived under with Coach B. I don't know, it's like 28-4 in the first 8 minutes. And then they go on a 4-0 run to make it 28-8, okay? Coach calls a timeout. We come over to the bench. He is losing his mind. He's so angry, and the last thing he says is he's like, you, and then a bunch of words, guys are going to pay for this tomorrow, okay? Now, just so you know how it felt, like, we get up from the huddle, and Walter McCarty, big, towering, 6'9", super talented, super athletic guy, turns white as a ghost, and he looks at me, almost tears in his eyes, and he's like, we have to fix this. It was sheer terror. He put fear in our hearts every day. And so for him to respond that way after the semifinal win, going to the championship, was just like, man, it was like there was no way we were going to lose. It's like, yep, this is just, we're ready. He's a brilliant coach.
All right, last one I got for you, and then we'll let you go. You donated enough of your time here. You're a Kentucky alum. I know you have a special, a soft spot for that program in your heart.
Yes.
You're now the BYU head coach.
Yep.
How do you balance having two programs in the same sport where, I mean, look, you love Kentucky. You're now the coach at BYU.
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
Oh, I love Kentucky.
What happens if they play each other?
You don't understand. I love Kentucky. Like, in my soul, I love Coach P, and I love Kentucky. And I'm trying to get a game with St. John's so we can beat them. And I would love to play Kentucky because I want to beat them. That doesn't mean I don't love them. I love them like crazy. I love them in my soul. But right now, BYU's trying to win, man. We're trying to win. So there's no conflict for me at all.
Shouldn't be.
Listen, man. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, you guys are
Thank
awesome.
you for jumping on.
I love you guys.
Return that call, man.
I love everything you guys do, man. It's so cool. Okay,
Appreciate
let's keep
that.
going.
The last time that we had him on, he jumped on from Fog Allen Fieldhouse from the stands after beating Kansas. It's always great to catch up with Coach Pope.
I meant to tease him about Tony Delk, one of his former teammates.
Do it right now. Just tell him.
I'll call him.
You know what? We missed an opportunity, Randolph.
What's that?
We missed a real opportunity. We have a legend, a guy that is one of the best players in Kentucky basketball history that came over here. We weren't able to get the best shooter in Wake Forest basketball history to jump on the show with us. He had to leave, Justin Gray.
Oh, okay. That's what you. No, that's my guy. I mean, I don't feel the need to defend myself and all of that. I mean, the record books say something different. So, I'm in the top 2 when I'm not 2. I don't know what you want me to say.
You got robbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
The record books say I'm the top one.
Listen, we're going to head to a break here in a couple of minutes. I do want to talk about let's get into this the matchup with DJ Burns and Zach Edey. How if you are Kevin Keats,
right,
and you are NC State, how are you going about dealing with the big fella?
I don't change anything, and we talked about this yesterday. I saw his press conference today, and he mentioned he's going to put offensive pressure on Zach Edey inside, and I think he will, and because he plays at angles. And that's how you attack athleticism or length, is that you play with angles. He's a below-the-rim guy.
Explain that for people.
Meaning he needs like, so if he's he's going to be just like this banging, and you're going to be facing me, and he's going to drop step to create an angle. And he finishes. He doesn't try. He's not going to try to go over top of that length. He's not going vertical. He's looking for angles to get his shot off, and that's how he plays. And so it's footwork. He's incredible with his feet. We know he has really good hands. I think he can put them away a little bit and knock down 15, 17-foot jump shots when needed. So I think he will not get the amount of touches to attack Edey point for point and basket for basket. But he's skilled enough to make Zach Edey have to do different things and defend him in different ways. I think he can attack him more off the bounce, hard dribble going left, spin off of him. He's a skilled big guy. You just look at his size, and we joke about it, and he jokes about it. But he can do a lot of really good things on the basketball court.
Let's flip this the other way. If you're Matt Painter and you know how influential DJ Burns is in what NC State wants to do offensively,
right,
how are you defending that? Are you sending a double? Are you playing him one-on-one?
No, I originally leave my big guy. I leave Zach Edey on him, and I see how it goes. Yeah. And I think you prepare for that, but you don't need to do that. I think it's not a high percentage shot. You just remind Zach Edey to try to say, keep your dishes and keep him in front, stay between him and the basket at all times. Easier said than done, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so my biggest concern with that matchup, and I said this to you yesterday, is that I don't think that DJ Burns is going to require a double team. And if DJ Burns doesn't have to have a second player coming to him, if you're Purdue and you don't have to send two at DJ Burns, and
right,
you're just kind of saying, okay, let DJ go one-on-one, I think that kind of limits what NC State can be offensively, because I don't know how effective he's going to be scoring against Zach Edey.
But the good thing is, again, he gets to say, hey, I'm going to pull you out, dribble handoffs, right? You're going to play Zach Edey inside on drops. It's going to be dribble handoffs. He's a great passer. So whether he has the ball at the three-point line opposite the court, he's passing, you're cutting. It's the cutting in the motion that they do on the weak side.
Yeah.
The easy baskets that he creates. He affects the game that way. He is an elite. He's essentially a point guard in the half court. If you hadn't watched NC State play, we joke about his size and how he plays, and he's been the NCAA tournament darling. He's an elite passer.
He might be the easiest player on the planet to root for. Great personality.
Great.
He does not look like he should be a basketball player.
No.
He showed up. Were you there when he showed up to the interview and he had on the ski goggles?
Yes.
And he couldn't get kept getting caught in his braids. Love him. Great character.
I got my shades. I'm just waiting until we get closer to Saturday on game day, and I'm rocking my shades.
All right, listen, when we come back, we are going to be joined by Georgetown head coach Ed Cooley, and hopefully at some point, Jeff Goodman and John Fanta will come to work.
Who knows?
Who knows? Haven't heard by now, we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using the BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And 3, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the Final Four. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets on anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app and use that code FIELD to sign up today. By now, you guys have surely heard about Autograph, an app founded by Tom Brady with the intention of disrupting the way that fans consume content covering their favorite teams. Here's how the app works. All of the podcasters and bloggers and digital creators covering a team have their content sent to that team's page in Autograph. Instead of having to bounce from site to site or try to navigate the only safe for work spaces that are left on X, you just scroll through Autograph. This isn't a hard sell. This is the truth. I'm a UConn fan. I use the Autograph app to keep up with the writers I read and the pods that I listen to. The best part is that every piece of content that you consume gives you reward points. The more you get, the more chances you have at things like discounted tickets and signed memorabilia. Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of The Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at one of the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/unified68 to learn more and find a center near you. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system. Welcome back to the Field of 68, live from Huss Brewing here in downtown Phoenix on 225 East Monroe Street, fellas. We are right next to the Fan Fest. We can see them setting up some of the Fan Fest stuff right over there right now. We're right next to the convention center. If you are coming to Phoenix for the Final Four, make sure you check out Huss Brewing. It says right here, elevated bar food. Does that mean they put it up a little bit higher for you? Is that what you got? Like you got to eat it off something above your head?
No clue.
No clue? Yeah, it's probably just good. Burgers, fish and chips. We've been chowing down on the queso. It's real. Yeah, it's real. We're joined right now by Georgetown head coach Ed Cooley. Ed, wasn't the way you wanted your first season to go down in D.C. How are you feeling right now coming off that year?
Still feel great. It was a transition. It was a very tough transition, but I think we grew as a staff. I think we engaged the community differently. I think our players have an understanding of where we want to go and how we want to play. Very excited about the class we have coming in and the staff that's recruiting. Very happy for Ivan Thomas becoming a head coach down at Hampton U, and great things are on the horizon. It doesn't happen in year one all the time, so little by little, the Hoyas will continue to climb.
I got to say this, being from Washington, D.C., growing up, knowing the presence of Coach Thompson, and since he's been there, it's been Georgetown with some connection to Coach John. So for you to come in there this year, internally, there had to be so much to change. I don't think people understand the influence of that man and the legend that he is. How do you feel that process is going? Just
like we always talked about, I'm always going to respect the tradition, the legacy of Georgetown. Right. It's a different time. It's a different era. It's a different space with our young men. It's just a different culture now in college athletics. So I think you have to adjust to that. But I'll never shy away from how important Coach Thompson's influence was on us young black coaches. Coming up, it was John Thompson, John Chaney, Nolan Richardson. Those were the guys that kind of blazed a trail for us to do what we're doing now. So as tough as it is being in his shadow, I'm excited about it because I feel great things are coming.
Do you feel added pressure from that? Because there's not – well, you do it naturally. But so I would add, do you feel a responsibility?
A responsibility versus pressure, I would say yes. And I appreciate you saying that. The responsibility to restore, and again, Patrick Ewing, There's no Georgetown basketball without Patrick.
No question.
Zero. You know, and then you look at the legendary players that have come through there. You know, going back to Ralph Dalton and Billy Martin and Reggie Williams and David Wingate. Like, you know, like, come on, man.
See, you're thinking just Georgetown. I'm speaking when I look at you, I think of across the country. I think I don't think you understand it because of who you are. I can tell you so many people look up to you and how you carry yourself and how you do your job. I don't think you get enough credit for that, for being a black head coach. And people are looking around and looking for a guy to be like that. So, you know, we sat here and I told you well before you probably thought about it. I just said when it was available, it's like, hey, if I'm Georgetown, I'd go write a check and get Ed Cooley for the job. And everybody gave us crap, thought we were crazy. And, you know, it worked out that way. Obviously, we had nothing to do with it. But I think across the country, assistant coaches and everybody else today look at you in the manner which we grew up looking at John Thompson.
And, you know, being born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island, I'll always love Providence College. I mean, wow. That is like home for me, will always be home, family there. And then to come to Georgetown to restore that, and I want to respect your tradition like I do. And it is just a different time, era, space. And it's the Big East. The Big East is like a monster. I don't know much about any other league, nor do I give a care about any other league. I really don't. I love the Big East. I think what happened with the tournament this year is playing out right now as Seton Hall's playing. Providence College is a tournament team. We played against them. Seton Hall tournament team. St. John's tournament team. Villanova was right there. Xavier right there. It's a great league. For us to not have multiple teams in that based on metrics, net this, we got to do something with that, and I think the committee has a tough job to do. But you cannot not have, when you have three of the top nine overall seeds.
When you have a team in the Big East that won 13 league games and beat the top 3 teams in the Big East that were all top 3 seeds, and they don't get in the tournament?
Yeah, it's something wrong with that.
What are we doing?
And I'm just happy to be a Big East coach. I really am. I'm grateful. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about, I cannot be here if I didn't work for Coach Skinner, if I didn't have an opportunity at Fairfield, and the biggest opportunity came from Providence College. To be on that high major level. Providence College's infrastructure is built for a national championship. I'm so happy and so proud of Kim English, a young, another developing African-American coach. Like, Providence College is destined to do great things. I hope they're bad when they play against us a couple of times. I do. But I'm always going to cheer for our home team in Providence.
That's how I feel about you, Georgetown. It's home. And they got the right guy leading it.
I want to ask you about developing that. You mentioned the infrastructure at Providence.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest step at Georgetown is turning that building, the what is
Capital
it?
One Arena.
The Capital One Arena, into a place where it's a cauldron to go into.
Yep.
Right. You look at the AMP. The AMP is a cauldron.
AMP is big time.
Big time.
So I mean, I'm used to calling it the dunk.
It's the dunk.
You know what I mean? Like,
the only reason I said that is because you're here. I'm trying to be respectful. You yelled at me one time when I called it the dunk, and I said it's always
but then I was the coach then.
All right, we called it the dunk.
I'm not the coach
now.
there
We can call it the dunk. All right, the dunk.
I'm calling it the dunk.
It will always be.
I'm
the
calling
dunk.
that dunk.
How do you do that for Georgetown?
The first thing you have to do, and we're going to make seismic changes there. You got to win. Mm-hmm. The district will come out when we're worthy enough for them to come out. We weren't worthy last year. We weren't. Let's call it what it was. I think the district, the DMV area, is dying for Georgetown to come back, which we will. And it'll be a hard place to play. It's not now. Folks have come in there very comfortable. I hope they were comfortable, because that shit's changing. It's going to change. You know what I mean? So you got to win first. People will come. Teach them how to be rowdy. And like I said, Providence College has an unbelievable home court advantage.
It does.
That will come to Washington, D.C.
Where do you stand on the conference expansion?
I think we're in a good space, yet given how all this is changing, we have to be able to evolve when that time happens. Who is that next team? The great thing about the Big East is we're a basketball-centric conference.
Right.
We don't have to worry about football. We don't have to worry. So, and again, thank you, Connecticut. Thank you, Villanova. Thank you, Providence. Thank you for all the teams that have been consistently Big East and national contenders. I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon, top to bottom. Welcome Chris Holtman to DePaul. I don't know if there's a better coaching lineup in America across the board than the Big East Conference.
Did you notice he started talking about the Big East and John Fanta?
He just walked in and bullied his way
out of thin air. Someone talks about the Big East and just boom, John Fanta's
real quick. Let me borrow the glasses. You know what I mean? Oh man, you're blind as hell. Oh man, Oh man, I know. I just thought those were some cool glasses.
No, I'm blind as a bat, and so is my wife.
Yes, she is. Yeah, I would concur with that. Yes. Yes.
There's not a better group of coaches from a golfing standpoint. Like Greg McDermott might play 130, 140 rounds of golf per year.
Well, good for him. I don't know if I'm in a position to play golf right now. I think I had to build a program. Right now, if I went on and played golf, I shoot a 190. But you know what? I'd be proud of that 190. Right? I'd be proud of that 190.
Yeah, tomorrow.
He's been dying for someone to play golf with him.
Oh, where we going, baby?
Wherever you want to go.
I'm not going to a Muni. I'm spoiled right now.
Okay.
I'm spoiled.
We'll figure that out.
All right. All right. I'm spoiled.
I got a question. Because I'm just a college basketball fan, as you well know. We're all fans of the game. What's the latest on the potential of the Hoyas and Maryland meeting?
There's some great news that's going to come out in the next, hopefully, week. Really good news. As you know, Coach Willard and I are pretty close. I think the DMV area deserves that level of game.
Yes, they do.
There'll be some great news coming out shortly.
Coach Willard and him ran the Pan American Games team for the Big East, along with Mike Martin from Brown.
Yes.
Stu Jackson.
Yes.
And that was one of the legendary weeks because Willard claimed that he had a better practice warm-up plan than you. And so you said, you know what? You think you got a better practice plan? Why don't you run the warm-ups?
And he did. Listen, we went over there with the Big East team, and we played Argentina, who was the runner-up that year.
Lima, right?
We were in Lima, Peru. And I think their team was the runner-up in the FIBA games, right? Well, they were.
Yeah, it was them and then Italy got the.
We could have played. No, it was them and maybe Greece. Maybe Greece. Either way, we couldn't have beat them if we played them 10 million times. We'd be 10 million in.
And what was the rooming situation in Lima?
It was rough. It was rough. We had peanut butter and jellies at 2 o'clock in the morning. Mike Martin and I were in a room the size of this table. It was awful. It was awful. But you know what? We had a good time.
What's your message to Georgetown fans right now?
Thank you. Stay with us. Continue to pack Capital One Arena. Our attendance was up 78%. Continue to give us hope coming out, and try to enjoy the journey together.
When you are reaching out to Georgetown fans, when you're going out in the community, how are you doing that? How are you trying to make yourself, your program more accessible? How are you trying to reach the next generation of basketball fans?
It's funny, Coach Willard and I talked about this. I mean, for me, I'm a foreigner. I'm a New England dude. You know what I mean? Kaz and Pax and all this other stuff here. I think you have to be vulnerable, be honest with them, open up, tell them how much you need them, how much you want them to be part of our. We will not do this alone. You need a community to come with you along the journey, and that's to me what's going to make it special. And I ask them for their help.
Had they tried to get you? They needed a famous eatery spot. You tried chicken and mambo sauce.
I've tried the chicken and mambo sauce, Ben's chili. I mean,
chili bowl. Huh?
I tell you what, the restaurants have been great. Haven't found a good chowder spot yet, though. I mean, I haven't.
If you find a good pizza spot in DC, you need to let me know. That's the biggest problem I have.
Yeah, probably.
Got you covered.
Yep. So you have had the mambo sauce now.
Mambo sauce is big time.
Yeah,
big time.
What about Randolph is not a big go-go guy.
Stop it! I told you that. He's not from there. He wouldn't know.
I'm learning.
There you go.
I'm being
it's
cultured.
Part of the culture.
Being cultured. I'm being cultured. We're getting there. We're getting there. Come on, man.
RC, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a trip one game next year. We're gonna go to a Georgetown game.
Done.
After the game, what we're gonna do is gonna be a Saturday night. Me and you're gonna take Ed Cooley out.
Done.
Let's do it.
I got him.
You know what? I'm buying.
There we go.
Just make sure
Wow.
we get a
There we
receipt.
go.
Let's make sure we get a receipt.
Listen, Ed, it's great to see you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you
All
being
love.
here.
They got the guy. They got the right
They
guy.
got the
George
guy.
Coach Cooley.
Thank you.
Coach
Cooley.
Cooley.
Thank you.
We have John Fanta here now.
Yes.
He's made it.
Thanks for
He's
joining us,
arrived.
man.
Thanks for
Yeah,
being here.
but we got
right
from
on
the
time.
stadium.
Right on time. Let's.
I just got done listening to Dan Hurley talk about flying.
Let's talk about that conversation, because we were going to talk about that earlier, but we wanted to wait until you got here. I was not able to go to that press conference. I decided to come to work and show up on time.
I
unlike
decided
some
to
of us.
ask players.
Two of us.
I decided to ask players in the locker room a couple of questions today.
You did. You asked him.
I went to work.
You went to work.
Some of us.
You worked too hard, according to some people.
Yeah, right.
But what did he say? How did that conversation go? We know that they got in at about like 3:30 in the morning local time. Not all of them got a lot of sleep, but some people got some sleep. And there was no player availability for UConn, which is what everyone else had. No open locker room, but they were here. They practiced. They've arrived. Dan Hurley walked in wearing his sunglasses with his his AirPods in, doing his strut. But he had the sunglasses on. He looked like he was a little bit hungover. That's what I do when I'm hungover. I put the sunglasses on when I walk in.
Yeah, I think the fun takeaway of it was Dan Hurley had fun with it. And he thanked Dan Gavitt and the NCAA staff. He started in a classy mode. But he did say, he goes, the most therapeutic part was watching the plane de-ice. He goes, the most therapeutic part of the whole experience. He said he ruminated, he let some steam off, he did some therapy. You know, Hurley is this, he does hot yoga, he does mental exercises with the AirPods, where he'll throw something on Spotify. He's a big podcast listener. So he said, the hardest 2 hours, which we've all been here, you can relate to this. We've all had to wait 2 hours on a tarmac for a plane to de-ice, some other mechanical issue. The plane that UConn had come pick them up for the 11:30 p.m. flight did not leave until 1:33 a.m. Eastern time. They had to sit there for 2 hours while you have a short-staff crew at midnight at the airport, at Bradley Airport. So it took a lot of time to get that luggage on the plane. Then they're de-icing, and Hurley's like, I'm just looking at the de-icing, trying to not blow up on the plane because everybody else. But he said, you know what? You could have a sense of entitlement and think this is awful, this is horrible, and make it the story of the week. He said, but this shit is over. Those were his words. He goes, this is over. We've got to move on. They've adjusted the schedule here today. They adjusted their practice schedule. He said, I have my head in my hands quite a bit on the plane, but you know what? We'll go a little bit easier than we normally would tonight. The game's not until Saturday. It's not going to impact how they play. But if anything, it's Nate Oates to me was the funniest thing of the day, guys, because Nate Oates gets on the podium and goes,
this was great.
Nate Oates goes, I want to make it clear, I didn't send anybody to Bradley International Airport to mess with UConn's plane. We have nothing to do with this. I wouldn't want to be UConn's director of basketball operations now.
And then what did he say? And then he said,
that's the worst job in the program.
And then he said at the end, he goes, I had a great night of sleep last night. He goes, I got 7 to 8 hours of sleep last night.
He did. He got 7 to 8 hours.
Hey, man. Hey.
Twist the night.
Speaking of 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, speaking
Did you get a nice round in this morning?
I did not.
Speaking of showing up late.
My travel wasn't great yesterday. It wasn't great. I actually left my ID in the West Palm Beach airport. So trying to get my wife to send my passport just so I can get home. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
You left your ID at the West Palm Beach
I don't know
airport?
where. And then when you try to call somebody to get, to talk to someone, nobody ever answers. It's all a computer. But yeah, we're excited to be here. I made it.
Most important question: did you bring the clubs?
I told you I did.
Yeah.
Are you two going to square off? This would be better than like the match where Phil and Tiger were playing. We could stream.
No, it wouldn't.
We could stream these.
I think we would have to spot Randolph.
Yes.
About 35 to 40.
So I had this. I told this story the other day on SiriusXM. We had Joel Berry on. Okay, and when I was at Florida, recruited the heck out of Joel Berry, and it's his junior year, and he goes on a visit, an unofficial visit to North Carolina, and I'm calling all his people. Don't let him commit. Don't let him commit. Don't let him commit. Don't let him commit. He's not going to commit. He's not going to commit on the visit. Don't let him commit. Well, he commits on the visit. Fast forward, I'm the head coach at Chattanooga, and we're playing at North Carolina, and we're up like 8-2. And Joel Berry dives on the floor for a loose ball in front of our bench, picks it up, slaps it, and starts screaming in my face. So I'm telling this story. Joel's on Sirius XM with us the other day, and I said, now I know he plays golf. I said, so is it going to be this competitive when me and you get on the golf course, Joel? It's like, is that going to happen? He's like, heck yeah, it is. No one better. But yeah, excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here too. I was excited to be at the stadium. You know what my takeaway was, fellas? Other than the flight drama and the Hurley Oates stuff, I love, and you've talked about this a great deal, how real Matt Painter is. He's just real. He's authentic. He even said at one point, he goes, I talk to the good officials I'll talk to about how they should officiate Zach Edey. The ones who aren't good officials, you know what, I don't have anything to say to them because
I thought his perspective on how he handles officials dealing with Zach Edey was really, really interesting. He basically said, all I do is I tell them, you got to. That's what was it? You got to give that to us on the other end.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, call it both ways.
Yeah, he basically just said, if it's a foul down there, it's got to be a foul down here, and that's all he says.
When I have the biggest bully on the block, I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
You want to play physical? Let me be physical.
But we've talked about this all year.
Right.
He's the hardest player in the country to officiate.
Maybe it's the hardest player ever.
I guess
in
you go back to Shaq. At LSU, I can't imagine he was easy to officiate. And look, it's amazing when you shift into this space and you start doing media. All the refs, they come up to you before the game and they give you a hug. Man, you're great to see you. Right? And then on the sideline, we're like, God, you're stomping and yelling and screaming at me. But he's the hardest guy possibly ever, Fanta, you just alluded to officiate, because he gets fouled every possession. Yes. Every single possession he's getting fouled. Yes.
But I think the bigger thing is, and I want to hear the coach's perspective here, and we go around the horn, like, it's not like Matt Painter became a great coach this year. That's something that I think the casual gets confused on. It's like, he finally broke through. The only way to break through is you're going to adapt, you're going to tinker. But he said we're not going to significantly change who we are, how we play. We're going to look at things analytically and go hard at it. What can you say about Painter's demeanor through it all? The ultimate low to now getting to this Final Four.
Yeah, you know what? I saw him at a clinic literally 3 months after I got let go at UMass. And he came up to me, and I really had never even met him, talked to him, anything. And he said, you know what, 5 years for me at Purdue, I needed to go through to figure out who I was as a coach and the players that I wanted to be in, who can I coach and do all those things. And nowadays you don't get that amount of time, but I needed that time. And he was like giving credit to his athletic director and everybody. And you just see his demeanor. There's a calmness about him. And I look back at my tenure as a head coach, I was a maniac early. I was arguing every call because I thought that's exactly what you needed to do. And me being a maniac on the sidelines probably didn't help my team. It didn't help them because it didn't come off authentic in who we were. And that's what his biggest strength is his authenticity, his calmness. His team plays that same way.
Am I wrong when I say this, and I'm asking you this, am I wrong when I say I think he has a level of – first, he didn't have to worry about job security or anything like that. But him breaking through and winning in March and having this deep a run, that he feels a level, like the elephant's all fish back with getting this far with that style of play and being committed to it and making that deep run. Would I be wrong for saying that?
I don't think you're wrong at all, but I also think his focus going into this season, and I've told this story a bunch. There's a clinic that happens at the University of Florida every single summer. It's called Larry Scheidt's Clinic. Larry Scheidt gets mad when you call it Larry Scheidt's Clinic, but it's Larry Scheidt's Clinic. That's what it is. And I was at that clinic this past summer, and Matt Painter was posting up Duke Werner, Florida's trainer, wondering, hey, Billy Donovan from 2001 to 2005 didn't get out of the first weekend. Did not get out of the first weekend. So Matt Painter is sitting there talking to Duke Werner about, what did you guys change? What did you do? Is there anything you did differently coming out of the 2005 year to get to 06 and 07 and be able to go back-to-back? This is Matt Painter talking to the athletic trainer, who's now an athletic administrator, one of the most respected guys in all the athletic association at Florida. But I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, this is impressive. This guy is on a mission. It's August. He's at a clinic. He's taking more notes than any coach in the entire building at this clinic. And he's talking to Florida's athletic trainer about what changed in those 4 years where Florida didn't get out of the first weekend. And that was so impressive.
Yeah, the one thing that I would be most concerned about with Purdue against NC State, and I asked Painter about this at the media availability, was you've reached the mountaintop that you haven't been to yet, right? We saw the emotion that came out. We saw the way that they celebrated getting to the Final Four, because there is an element of, okay, we've made it. Like, you get to the Final Four, there's something to celebrate about that. You get to a Super Bowl, there's something to celebrate. You get to that final weekend. Now, you got to refocus. You're playing a team that's been as hot as anybody in college basketball for the last 2 weeks. So you have to refocus and kind of get everybody back locked in.
Hardest thing to do.
It was, I got to tell you, you've asked a lot of questions. That was maybe your finest hour in a press conference there.
I did drop a you made Robbie Hummel cry in the press conference.
I thought to myself, the fact that he worked that in, and that's going to make the transcript, the ASAP.
Yes. That's the only reason I said it.
Will you find the transcript and take a screenshot of it?
Yes, I'm going to.
Must have been a really good question asker. That's a Dauster all over it. I do. I think that, and it's just beyond Matt. It's, Edey walks into the locker room today. I have never seen a media mob like that waiting on a player.
Yes. Goodman pushed back on this. This is Final Four 15 for me. This is as big as I've ever seen the media mob, for outside of like Grayson Allen when he was tripping everybody.
Okay.
Right? Like, it was outside of that.
Goodman pushed back. Goodman pushed back last night at 6:15 when we said this UConn flight issue. He goes, this is a nothing burger. This is nothing. 8 hours later, they're still on the ground at Bradley, and he's tracking the flight.
Well, it was a nothing burger until he started trying to get the story. If it's not his story, since it was Matt Norlander that broke the story, that's what it was. But can we go to the interview with Matt Painter?
We have a break, and we're going to come back with it. Quickly, if you're on an airplane, what snack are you having?
Ooh, man. I mean, if it's a Delta flight, you got to go with like the corn chips, right? I mean, pretzels. I mean, how can you go wrong with pretzels?
No, it's the little cookies.
Well,
it's the little cookies.
No. I remembered I shouldn't have asked McCall this, because last week I said, "What's your favorite snack?" Trevor Dagan, remember this? McCall said a beer.
Coors Light.
Coors Light, baby.
Coors Light. We're going to get a beer here at Wonderful Huss Brewing Company. Back with Field of 68 for the Final Four next.
We need a Lopes Lager. Heard by now, we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using the BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And 3, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the Final Four. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets on anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app and use that code FIELD to sign up today. It's time to talk about Vaulted. Vaulted is an app that allows you to store your predictions now and forever. It also allows you to challenge your friends to prove that your takes are, in fact, smarter than theirs. But what makes Vaulted great is that it allows you to keep all the receipts that you need to prove that your friends are not as smart as they think they are. With that in mind, let's roll through the 5 worst Vaulted predictions that were made on the Field of 68 after dark this season. On November 6th, Jeff Goodman predicted that St. Mary's would make it back to the Final Four. They lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. On November 29th, it was predicted that Arkansas would win the SEC. They finished 12th out of 14 teams. That prediction was made by Jeff Goodman. On December 13th, it was predicted that Michigan State would win the Big Ten. They finished in 6th place. That prediction was made by Jeff Goodman. On December 29th, it was predicted that Miami would return to the Final Four this season. They finished 14th out of 15 teams in the ACC. That prediction was made by Jeff Goodman. So download the Vaulted app, that's spelled VLTED, from the App Store now and start keeping all of those receipts. Nothing better in sports than tournament time, which is why I need to tell you guys about our partners over at Rhythm. If you're into sports betting, you need Rhythm, the place for data-backed props and picks. For those that are unfamiliar, Rhythm, spelled RITHMM, is the go-to mobile app for player props and game picks. Backed by AI predictive models, Rhythm helps you make smarter and faster betting decisions across all sports, but particularly college basketball. With Rhythm, you get data-backed picks for every single Division I game every single day. Users get free picks daily with the ability to upgrade to unlimited access. If you want to increase your edge and win more bets, go to the link in the description and download Rhythm today. That's RITHMM, the place for data-backed props and picks. Welcome back to the Field of 68 live at Huss Brewing here, 225 East Monroe Street, downtown Phoenix. We are right next to where Fan Fest is going to be. We are right next to the Phoenix Convention Center, and we have, look at all these beers we have, Doug. Is this enough beer for you?
I'm not an IPA guy.
But then we got the Lopes Lager right
Mexican
here.
Beer, that's me.
We got a Scottsdale Blonde.
This Mexican beer is me.
You have a canned blonde right there. We'll hit the
beer
bottle
at the
blonde
end
later tonight.
Like, did I stutter?
I've heard.
The Mexican
Trying
beer.
to sell me on the Orange Blossom, which sounds amazing. The Orange Blossom kind of sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. So that'll be here at Huss Brewing all week. No one has seen Jeff Goodman. I think Jeff Goodman has disappeared. He decided he didn't want to come to work at all today. So, Doug, you are now filling in for Jeff Goodman.
Good.
Give me your thoughts on the Final Four. This is the first time we talked to you down here.
I think so. I was tracking this. 89 was my first Final Four in Seattle, where terrible call. TV Teddy made a terrible call. Ramil Robinson 2 free throws to beat Seton Hall, win a championship. So this is probably. I was trying to do the math on the plane. I think this is like Final Four number 30 that I've attended, and this is about on par with what most of them have been, right? Like you got one like Cinderella, like how the hell they get it together team in NC State. And the guy saw them against Carolina at home, and I was like, he's going to get fired. And then you have, like, a true favorite, the defending national champion. And then you have a team that has always come up short on some form or fashion, but really, really good program in Purdue. And then you have, like, kind of the classic, like, football school, what are we doing here, really good, right? So this is a lot more on par, because once we got to maybe the George Mason, VCU, now we started to get like real Cinderellas, and the whole kind of makeup changed. Then last year was super bizarre. So this is a lot more on par with everything. And, you know, it feels like it sets up really well for Purdue UConn, doesn't it?
Is that what you're rooting for?
I'm not rooting for it. I want to see Alabama hit some shots. I want to see what happens.
Make it interesting.
Just a close game. Like
I want to see what UConn looks like in the last couple minutes of a close game.
Under the gun.
But don't you think, too, like, Alabama has to bomb them in, like, early. Like, they got to make them early just to even.
If Grant Nelson makes one in the first half.
I think it's more about if they space whoever Donovan Clingan is guarding, that position.
That's Grant Nelson.
Has to make it. Right.
It's Grant Nelson.
Or whomever he's got. If they try to schematically put him somewhere else,
yeah.
When they substitute or whatever, whoever he's guarding's got to do that or be able to break him down off the dribble.
Well, but see, Grant can play downhill, right? Like he's a wing. He can play downhill. He can't guard anybody in that post. Like I was at the Auburn game and at home when they won, and he made free throws late. He got a big tip dunk late, but Janai Broome was just eating that game. So, and Kling is not as good as Janai Broome scoring the low post. So I don't think if UConn, if he wants to score 30 at the low block, if I'm Alabama, great, fine, because it's going to take him a lot of shots to do that. But you're right, RC, that he's got to make one or two early. If he does,
just
now
to get him to come out. And then now he gets to drive. And more importantly, if he doesn't attack the paint, it's going to allow Sears and all the other guys on the perimeter to attack and get to the
I got to ask you guys a question, okay? This is a real thing. So I appreciate what his idea in mind, but you have to have a better plan. Like Quincy Guerrier was so shook, but then he caught the ball where he could have dunked it, and he, 2 foot, go up and just try and dunk on a 7-footer. Like, no, they had terrible finishing packages, bad angles. There wasn't one shot fake in the lane. Not that he always has to jump, but no rondos, no nothing, no 2024 creativity when you're attacking a big guy. I thought that was the flaw more so than, hey, attack the big guy and you can't finish at the rim. But you guys have coached at this level. And, RCU played at this level. So you tell me. I didn't mind Illinois' plan, but it was flawed because it was like, well, just go and attack the big guy. And they just went straight into it instead of, I think Sears is really good downhill. I think he's got a creative finishing package. I think Alabama's got there again. I don't think they win the game 8 times in 10, but there's a shot one of those 2 times in 10 they can win.
Yeah, I mean, how do you get them on the move? That's the thing. Ball movement, player movement. How do you get this guy out on the move in terms of clinging defensively, dragging him away from the basket where he has to guard throw-ahead ball screens.
Flares.
Throw-ahead.
Well,
flares.
You
whatever it may be. Make him
flares
have to do
into a pin.
Like all kinds of stuff to try and wear him down, but keep him moving. Not, hey, we're going to go at him off the bounce and run a middle ball screen and see if he can move his feet and keep him moving.
Well,
set a middle ball screen, pop back. Now he's got to guard that. Now you go into a wing ball screen. Now it's a throw ahead. Throw it to him, and he's constantly having to move. That's the thing. Not one ball screen down the lane. That ain't working. But the thing about Sears, RC, real quick, is he moves so well without the ball.
Yes.
If there's a single side pick and roll, and he's on the opposite wing, and you turn your head for a split second, you're going to give up a 3. So the discipline defensively when you're guarding this guy is the biggest key.
That's what we just talked about earlier when we talked about the Stephen Castle matchup on him. I used that same analogy, moving him off the ball, and now Castle has weak side responsibilities. You don't get out to him quick enough, he's spraying it. But the middle ball screen, he's going to try to play and drop coverages. The angles, to your point, is Sears is good enough just to give him a hezzy at that three-point line coming off to make him stay. And now, to your point, can he get downhill with a creative package to challenge him at the rim? If not, it forces him to have to knock down those shots to make him commit to come out.
We were able to catch up with Mark Sears earlier today. Jeff Goodman got down on one knee to have a conversation with Mark Sears. Here we go. This is it right now.
Last year, everything happens in the offseason. You knew Brandon was gone. But then when Bediako leaves and then Quinterly leaves in July, what are you thinking?
I'm like, man, I'm the only starter left in this thing, and I got to lead these guys and show them the ropes.
And then your whole staff leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this wasn't expected, and I think nobody expected this from you. When did you realize you could carry a team like you did this year?
Really, I had spurts last year. I had some good games showing spurts last year. I felt like if I had the opportunity to lead a team, I felt like I really could succeed, and that's what happened this year.
So what does this say for your team? Your top 3 players are mid-major transfer ups. That doesn't – I mean, it's never happened before, obviously, with you, Aaron, and Grant. Right. What do you think that says about college basketball right now?
I feel like it's changing. The transfer portal is like 5 stars, In the high school, they're 5 stars. They're really talented, but they're not experienced, But the transfer portal, you're going to get an experienced guard that's going to be ready and give production immediately.
How important is it when guys are going in the portal? A lot of guys now are just going for the money.
Yeah.
At Alabama, I talked to Brandon. He didn't get at Alabama what he could have other places. I don't think you got what at Alabama maybe what you could have got at other places.
Right.
How important is it for the fit? Because you got the right fit here, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I definitely got the right fit. And when you're going in that portal, it's all about the right fit, because if you have the right fit, that can set you up for success later in your career.
All right, so I don't know if you know, I was the one on the video that said I'm 52 years old and none of you can guard me. What'd you think?
Yeah, I remember. I seen you on that highlight video.
and I was like, what did you think when you saw it?
Oh, I'm definitely going to prove him wrong. We're definitely going to prove you wrong.
So you don't think I can get by you?
Oh, yeah, I want you to keep doing that. We definitely want you to keep
you didn't answer the question. Can I get by you or not?
Oh, could you get – no. No, I'm going to take it personally.
I agree. There's no way I can get by you. Maybe 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. All right, congrats, Ben.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 live from Huss Brewery. We are on East Monroe Street. Come stop and see us, because who wouldn't want to have a beer with Doug Gottlieb, Jeff Goodman, and Matt McCall?
I mean, what a company to be in.
It's true.
Even Goodman's making an appearance now.
I'm glad we got a real host in there.
Everybody was worried where I was.
Can I get a rant real quick? Because he just interviewed Mark Sears. No, it has nothing to do with you guys.
No, here's the thing. You asked, can I get a rant real quick? There's 2 parts of that. Number 1, if I had said no, the train already left the tracks. Number 2, let's go. Go ahead.
So
I can't wait to hear this.
I don't know if it was on CBS or I don't know if it's on social media or other people, whoever's made it, but I've seen it. I've heard it said several times. The Jalen Brunson, Ryan Sears.
Mark Sears.
Mark Sears, sorry.
By the way,
Ryan Sears,
I
I
hate
played
this too.
Ryan Sears played for Creighton, by the way. Really good player. Okay.
Long time.
He did. He was good, good-ass player.
No,
anyway.
there's no comparison.
No, but wait. No, there is comparison. They're both light-skinned. They're both left-handed. They're both black, and they both play in the Final Four. And they play basketball.
Comparison.
No, I mean, like, look, they're not close to the same. Watch Sears play. First of all, really explosive downhill. Yeah. Really explosive. And the amazing thing about Jalen Brunson is he's an elite guard. An elite guard in the NBA. Was obviously an all-timer in college basketball. But he wasn't explosive. He's one of those guys you're like, how does he do it?
And he back dudes down.
He's got
totally different game.
Literally, completely.
Right.
That's the whole thing is like, I get that he's left-handed and that they both can score. That's essentially where it ends. Yeah. And I think, like Sears is, we make lots of stories about the portal that are bad.
Oh, he's a great story.
But here's a guy that Ohio U, wasn't recruited by the SEC, transfers in and finds just the right program. And like, look, there's a reason they were cool with Javon Quinterly leaving.
Yeah.
You know?
Just not when he left. They were cool that it was just like at that point.
I understand, but I mean, think about the juxtaposition of those two guys. Javon Quinterly was, everyone wanted him. Right. McDonald's All-American, goes to Villanova at Villanova's peak. And here's a kid that was right in their backyard in Muscle Shoals, right?
Yeah.
And no one wanted him in the SEC. And he's the best guard in the league with really, really good guards.
You know what he said today that I thought was amazing? In the locker room, in the scrum, where I asked too many questions.
You did. Well, you went back to back to back to back to back. I mean, it's a lot. It was a
Fanta,
lot.
are you signing autographs over here, by the way?
No.
We're taking pictures and signing autographs?
No, just a
Kissing
picture
babies.
with a child. Here we go.
That's me. The Mexican with me.
You know what Sears said? As these wonderful brews arrive from Huss Brewery Company on East Monroe Street. There are 4 locations locally, 3 of them named Huss, Scottsdale Blonde, Orange Blossom, Lopes Lager. They're all arriving to our table. Sears said, when I entered the transfer portal, I wanted to go to a program where I knew I was going to get to a Final Four. And so the natural follow-up was, well, Mark, Alabama had never been to a Final Four. And he said, yeah, but there was something about Coach Oates that got me convinced I could get to where I wanted to be. What is it about Nate Oates?
It's his ability to space the floor and let him shoot a ton of threes. Right? If you're a guard and you want the freedom on the offensive end of the floor, even when the game's on the line coming down the stretch, bombs away. Let him fly. Like that. I mean, ultimately, that's why he wanted to go play in that system. Let's score in the hundreds. Let's do it.
No
we don't want to play this game in the 50s. We want to play in the hundreds.
Might have even given Gottlieb the green light at times.
Did you think Nate Oates would be in a Final Four when he took the Alabama job?
No.
Could you have ever fathomed?
I mean, like last year he had Final Four talent.
But when he took the
I'm
job,
saying
when he took the job?
no chance.
I got to know Nate when he was assistant under Bobby. And I was like, and Bobby, and again, this is where the Hurleys really deserve credit. Right? Like, I know Danny is a bit of a psycho. Like, we all know that. Bobby's a bit of a psycho. But, like, they're basketball psychos. They're, like, our kind of people, right?
Yeah.
And I was doing the NCAA tournament, and I sat down with Bobby, and he's like, you really want to know what's going on with our team? Like, ask Nate. Like, he's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's like, really? It's like, yeah, he's honestly, like, he's the best coach outside of my dad I've ever been around.
Well,
he's that good.
Yeah.
He just kind of, he's very, very good. And then you have to be impressed by a guy who, one, promotes his guys enough to where all 3 guys get a job last year.
Unbelievable.
And then, because that's what this whole Final Four is about.
Unbelievable.
Right? Get your guys.
Advantage. Yeah.
Get your guys. And, like, look, last year, it wasn't like the PR was all that good around the program. And
That
yet
was the
he got
exact opposite.
Right, and he got his 3 guys jobs. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they're all doing well. And then he gets Austin to come back out of Nicholls State. And then he hires
Ryan Pannone.
And now he gets Ryan Pannone,
who's a basketball journeyman. Ryan Pannone was at Oldsmar Christian. It's the Tampa area. Let's just call it Tampa. And I used to go there when I was an assistant coach at Florida. I would go out, and he's been overseas, and he's coached in the G League, and he posts more videos on Twitter with different actions. When I was a head coach, I would go to Ryan Pannone's Twitter on the day of a game just to cure my anxiety and write up some of the actions that he was posting. If you don't follow Ryan Pannone on Twitter and you're a basketball junkie, follow Ryan Pannone. Because there's going to be action every single day of how to move the floor underneath out of bounds, side out of bounds,
so I had
different
no
situations.
idea, and like I follow him too, and I'm watching it, and I know he's close to David Thorpe, so another Florida guy, right? And so David's like he's legit, he's like a savant, and
you want to talk about a basketball junkie? That's what Ryan Pannone is.
But it's really interesting where you have like so much of us, we love this stuff, and I can't tell you how many coaches have watched that stuff or watched European ball and think to themselves, that's how I want my team to play. But you know what they do?
They won't do it.
They won't do it.
Why?
Because because they weren't coached that way.
You got to adapt. You got to totally go all the way in, right?
I'll be like Tom Izzo, for example, this year. I give him a ton of credit. I don't know if people recognize it, but they're running ball screen continuity, which of course has been around. Really, Butler and Brad Stevens kind of brought that to the forefront. But they're doing what I like to do, which is kind of twist it and run it downhill to the sideline. Right? That's a kind of really evolved thing. Do you know how hard it is to get to Tom Izzo to go like, hey, all that shit you've been doing for the last 25 years, let's do it differently now. It's really hard. And so many of these guys have watched.
Tom's got to take one more step and really buy into shooting the three a little bit more.
I agree.
Because he loves the tough two. And it's like,
I agree, but part of that is also personnel.
Well, even off
part of
the
that's
court.
personnel dependent as well.
Right.
But the point is that like what makes Nate so good is Nate coaches the way that everybody wants to coach. He just actually does it.
Let's turn to some news at this hour. With Eric Musselman heading to USC, that means that the Arkansas job is open. And Jeff Goodman, you have reported in the last hour that there is a leading candidate who has emerged candidates, but one of the candidates that has been newly reported by you is Chris Beard, the head coach of Ole Miss. What can you tell us about the Arkansas search?
Well, right now, I mean, there's two names that have emerged. And again, it's early. Hunter Yurachek has had a couple days here to kind of understand that Muss was probably going to USC. And the two names are Chris Beard of Ole Miss and
Hold
Jerome
on.
Tang at
How long
Kansas
ago
State.
did we all think Muss was going to USC?
I don't know, a week ago.
When SMU came open, everybody thought he was going there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it didn't immediately happen. I was like, something's up there.
Right. So Tang and Beard. Tang and Beard are the two. All right, so I'm gonna start with Gottlieb here. If you're Hunter Yurachek, the Arkansas AD, who are you hiring? Chris Beard, and why? And okay, so let me play devil's advocate here. Okay. Chris Beard was just hired by Keith Carter, the Ole Miss AD, and he threw him a lifeline, right? Guy couldn't get a high major job because of everything that happened at Texas.
Yes.
He gives him the job.
Yes.
If you're Chris Beard, are you really leaving after 1 year? Should you be loyal? Should you be loyal in one more year? Their buyouts are about the same.
Should
Tang
you
and
be?
Beard. Yes. Should you be?
Probably, but I mean, what are we doing in this sport? This sport is like preaching to everybody, don't be loyal.
Yeah, good.
You know?
But that doesn't mean Beard has to not be loyal.
I understand. Look, he was.
Isn't it a hard
how
deal?
long was he at Little Rock?
1 year.
Yes. I mean, you go back.
But you go from Little Rock to, well, it was UNLV and then Texas
He was UNLV
Tech.
for
And
13 days?
and
13
different
days?
circumstances.
Look.
For 1 year.
Here's my thing. I've been around this thing my whole life. I've covered it as an analyst for 21 years. Okay. I remember the first Chris Beard practice I went to, and I'm like,
This dude can coach.
holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't think you're saying you're.
And like, look, I think Jerome's deal is he's so incredibly likable. He's like a force multiplier of
energy.
joy.
Yeah, the
you know,
energy
and he really is.
And Beard's not bad.
And look, well, again, you're coming off Muss, and again, I've known Muss a long time. No.
Right.
Okay?
No, Muss to Tang is like
That's
night
opposites.
and day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Muss is a force of nature. You're like, we're going to do it. We're going to win. And if you're not on board, be gone. Don't care. Right. And he's
ran
going to
its
win.
course.
He'll win at USC. Yes, it has a timestamp on it.
But what I'm saying, I think what you're saying is that Ole Miss provided Chris Beard a life raft.
No question.
No,
And
he understands that.
I understand it, but I also think Ole Miss understands who they are. I would guess.
What do you think?
I think those two names obviously make a lot of sense. I'm looking at Jerome Tang. He just got Dougie McDaniel. He just got his point guard. Not to say that he wouldn't come with him, but there's got to be other people out there. And those two guys, you're going to win.
Give me some names. Give me some names.
You're going to win. You're going to win with both of those guys.
But listen,
and here's the other thing is like Like T.J. Altenberger's not leaving Iowa State to go to Arkansas. Nope. It's rolling. National Coach of the Year candidate. Like
I'll give you 17 million reasons why he's not leaving.
No question.
I listen.
But here, and I have a little bit of a different perspective.
Yes, of course, because you've actually lived it.
I've lived it, but like, and I know this is a long shot, but a guy like Bryce Drew, and hear me out. He goes to Vanderbilt and it doesn't go well. Took him to a tournament, and then it went bad. When you get fired, you have a different perspective, and you become a better coach. This guy is taking Grand Canyon to 3 NCAA tournaments and just won 30 games. So I know, AD, you're going to swing for the fences. If they swing and miss and both those guys stay with their job, interesting to see.
No, I mean, I'm
behind.
not.
Well, but you
but
go
hold on.
Beard to Bryce Drew isn't even close. Now,
I don't know
the baggage.
but I'm saying, I'm saying, look, but I think Bryce Drew is better because of what he went through at Vanderbilt.
I'm not saying he's not, but to me, again, you're talking about a guy that almost won the national title in Lubbock, Texas.
No question.
And was on ready to go at Texas.
Here's another one, okay? And we'll get to the other part of the discussion. Have you guys actually seen the roster of his last year at Texas Tech?
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
No, go look it up. Vlad Golden was on it. Kevin McCullough was on it.
Oh, the guys that,
Terrence
that year. I thought you were talking about the
it.
Jemias Ramsey that year.
No, but
there was good players on that roster.
Oh, he gets dudes, and great identifier of talent. He's good. So here's the thing. I agree with you on Bryce Drew, okay, but Arkansas is a little different now. Okay,
right. No question.
Okay?
I've been saying it for you.
So
arguably the second best job
Arkansas
in the SEC.
Can
I throw a name?
Go.
Yeah, go.
Sean Miller.
Nah, not Arkansas.
Not
I don't like him in the SEC.
Can I ask you this question?
I don't like him.
Where do you put? No, I asked this question last night. Well, where do you rank Arkansas in the SEC as a job?
Third.
Two right now.
Kentucky and who?
When Texas comes in, he's saying Texas.
I was about to say.
I get it, but like Texas, it's still a football school. I
Yeah,
know they got money.
We got football schools playing this weekend, don't we?
I know, but like I don't
know.
know.
Dude, like here's the thing. What does it take?
Care.
What does it take?
They don't really care that much.
Yes, I do.
No, they don't.
What does it take?
McCall,
what does it take
where
to
would
win?
you rank?
What does it take?
In the SEC?
What does it take to win in the SEC? Wait, hold on. What does it take to win the SEC?
Before Thompson Bowling Arena was rocking and filled like it is right now, it's Kentucky, it's Arkansas, and it's Tennessee.
Yeah, I'd
put Arkansas ahead of Tennessee? I would.
Yes.
Right, me too.
Yes.
Yeah, I would too. Okay, so Sean Miller, let me say this to you, Fanta. I agree with you on the loyalty thing. I think Sean is actually super loyal to Xavier. And I'll tell a story that I probably shouldn't tell, but whatever. Field of 68, so we do. Oklahoma State comes open. They fire Sean Sutton. Okay? So I was upset. Sean is a dear friend of mine. And Mike Holder, the AD at the time, called me, talked me down off the ledge, and said, "Hey, I'd really like you to help me. You cover this thing." At that time, I was in my early 30s. I'd like you to help me find our next coach. So I said immediately, "Sean Miller's your next coach." So he's like, tell me about him. Mike Holder's a former golf coach. Okay, so I was like, you don't have to just ask anybody. The guy's, it's like a clinic when you go to his practice. It's amazing. So I called Sean, and Sean's like, that part of the country is not really for me. And, oh yeah, by the way, like, I have a deal with Xavier where I can't remember how many years he stayed, 5 or 7 in his first one, but like
7.
7
years.
So that was year 6. And he was like, "There's a $2 million buyout until year 7." They made a commitment to me when no one else would hire me as head coach. I made a commitment. Again, we talked about a guy off the scrap heap, right? What happened in Arizona? Lost his job. They give him kind of a new lease on life. Got a new facility, and I don't think Sean Miller, the only job he might leave for would be Pitt, just because it's home.
Kentucky in a couple of years.
Or Kentucky potentially. I think he's actually loyal to Xavier because it's only been 2 years.
And take this without Jeff Goodman's hot seat. Do you call Brad Burnell?
Hell no.
No.
I think Brad Burnell is one of the more underrated coaches.
I agree with you.
Not at
Okay,
Arkansas.
again, it's
Not at
Arkansas, dude.
They need a
Arkansas.
personality.
Okay, listen, Arkansas is I think.
Guys, I was in the league for 11 years. I know how good Arkansas is.
Do you think Brad Burnell works? His personality down in Fayetteville.
I'm looking at a guy that knows how to coach and can win
but they
games.
need
Of
a
course he does. He's a
personality.
great ball coach. No one's
Especially
disputing
coming off
that.
Muss.
Okay,
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean,
Right?
no disrespect to Jerome Tang, but it's not like he's got a long resume
agreed.
of work
That's
as
why
a
I'm
head
telling you,
coach.
Chris Beard is the guy.
I agree with you.
grew up in Dallas, great, big in Texas, okay?
So
and
you're eliminating Buzz Williams from the search.
Well, Buzz will put himself in the search, there's no question.
Yeah, he
right?
sure will.
He's buzzing away.
Right? And, I mean, like, look, Buzz has won, so whatever. They're not winning at Virginia Tech now. They've not, Marquette's obviously figured it out, but after he left, it took a dip. So I just say this. I think it's Beard. Now, Beard might say no because he's got kind of everything he wants at Ole Miss. They have money. They have brand new facilities. They're doing it right. And you can win anywhere now. If you have NIL, you can literally win anywhere. But part of it is I play for Coach Sutton. And Coach Sutton could not have any more nice things to say about one place on earth than Arkansas. That Bentonville area, Northwest Arkansas, is big time. It's like
there's players there too,
and there's dudes.
Players.
You got dudes. Oklahoma's got dudes. Memphis has got dudes. Arkansas's got dudes, and Dallas has got dudes, and they got money to get those dudes. Tyson Chicken, JB Hunt moving, Walmart money.
How quick will this move in your mind? Do you think by Monday we'll have
before the game Saturday?
I mean,
that's what I would do.
It hasn't moved that quick.
I want it on the bottom. If I'm Arkansas, I want it on the bottom line Saturday
before the game starts.
Yes.
Yeah, Saturday during the day, I could see something being done. I mean, tomorrow it's going to move. It's going to move because, again, with the portal, it has to move quick now.
So if Beard says no and he wants to stay at Ole Miss,
yeah.
Tang says no, he wants to stay at Kansas State.
I don't think Tang would say no. I mean,
Wade.
Asking.
That's a Will Wade job.
So. No, I don't think he's in the mix.
Who?
Who would be?
I've heard Will Wade is not in the mix.
Yeah. Okay, so who else?
I don't know where they go next. I mean, those are the two names right now. I mean, Bucky McMillan hasn't done enough. I think he'd be good there.
I don't know what the buyout is.
Yeah.
Underwood would be really good there.
Yeah, he would.
Underwood would be really good there.
He just got off Elite Eight. I mean, you can't let him walk if you're Josh Whitman at Illinois.
Is there such a thing for some of these coaches who have now, like, with the way the portal opens, you've done a lot of work to get everything together for next season?
Yeah, the only thing with Beard is you're in the same league, recruiting the same players. So that would be easy for him. Right? I mean, a lot of it is
he's trying to win the SEC, and so he's trying to win the SEC.
A lot of it is the same.
Correct.
Tang is calling the same, he'd be zooming with the same kids.
Correct.
I got to ask both of you this question. I'll start with you. We did this as a debate topic last night, and it became a terrific topic of your current college coaches, Mount Rushmore. Who would be your 4 current coaches on a Mount Rushmore?
Well, you have to make it a little bit clearer to them what the requirement. We're not talking about the totality of their careers.
No, well, no. No. First off, you can't justify what Randolph Childress did. He threw the ball off the side of the backboard last night.
But don't tell him.
We already did. Yeah, I'm not going to tell him. I'm not. The 4 coaches that you would put currently on a Mount Rushmore.
They have to currently coach in college basketball?
Yeah, they're current coaches.
So Billy Donovan's not eligible?
Pitino's easy.
Okay, so for the record, nobody had Rick Pitino last night when we did this exercise.
He's peeking in. Who
did he say?
Bill Self.
Oh,
Bill
God.
Self.
Bill Self was everybody.
No question.
That was everybody. That was clear cut.
Okay, so Pitino and Bill. Hold on, Pitino and Bill Self.
I don't disagree.
Here he comes.
Okay.
Here he comes.
Here we go.
He's going to take another shot.
That was going to be my first question to you after a night of sleep.
I mean, you got to put Hurley on there.
I don't want to hear y'all talk.
Dan Hurley was on there.
Hurley's on there.
They act as though I said Tony Bennett. I know he had a disappointing year.
Amazing.
But I thought they're incredibly disrespectful. As if, okay, if you don't have him in the 4th, he can't be lower than 6, right?
Well, here's the funny thing. Like, people act like did Tony Bennett forget how to coach?
No. He
Or
won a
did
national
NIL
championship.
and the inability to take transfers that you really want? Okay, have you guys talked about the real the real deal with the transfers? Like, where the real academic schools can't take transfers that take online classes. And all these kids take all online classes.
They can't take juniors. Basically, a lot of them can't take juniors. They won't take us.
So you're like, why didn't they get that guy? Like, they wanted that guy. Again,
Yes.
Mark
Few is on there. So
9
Bill
straight
Self,
Sweet 16s.
Bill Self, Mark Few.
And Rick Pitino.
We had
Or
Kelvin
3.
Sampson on there.
No way. I love Kelvin. He's awesome, but he's
97 and 15 the last 3 years.
Again, but like, are you gonna go Kelvin in comparison to Self or Few or Pitino?
Yeah,
okay,
I went
so
over
we got
Pitino.
one more spot.
I went over Pitino because I just feel in Few because I feel like I'm
No,
doing
I
it
picked
current. I'm doing it more current instead of like
You're doing
Izzo.
like- you're doing like-
I could have had Izzo if it's in
Why
totality.
wouldn't you have Izzo?
Because I'm doing more now.
It's
I'm
in
doing
the
more
now.
than Mount Rushmore now. Who are your 4
goes Purdue.
coaches that are the best coaches now.
He's in there.
No
Yeah,
question.
Painter,
Well, that was what I was going to get to. I was going to get
knocking on
to.
the
We
door.
should, at the end of this, we should do the not much more of programs, right? Programs, because programs are different. Like, I think Purdue might have the best program in the country. Like, they just churn out big guys.
It's a culture.
And their culture is
culture's
awesome.
through the roof.
Just every year they're good. You know they're going to kick the crap out of you. They're so physical, right? And yeah, this is the first Final Four, but like, ask anybody, do you want to go play Purdue this year? Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. They're awesome. Let's see. I need a fourth coach other than Kelvin. I mean, just like
Did you pick Dan Hurley?
I mean, if he wins a second straight national title,
I was just going to say to you, if you're going to say Mount Rushmore of programs, if on Monday UConn claims a second straight, there's no question what the best program is in college basketball.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Jay's not coaching. I mean, so many have left.
That's why it's a good question.
I didn't say it was
really
right.
hard.
I never said it was a bad question. It's a really good question. I just want to actually
Jeff,
do something I
what was
don't
yours?
usually do, which is think. Huh?
Mine was Self, Hurley, Kelvin, Scott Drew. Those are my four.
Scott Drew. Scott Drew's great.
Those are my four.
I mean, listen, Kelvin and Scott Drew are awesome.
I just can't get over the fact that this guy's been to 9 straight Sweet
Oh, it's
16s.
insane.
It's insane. Everyone wants to talk about they don't play. They're not in the conference. They're in a mid-major conference, and the guy has been to 9 straight Sweet 16s. Winning is hard.
Now, while we have 40 seconds.
Here we go. Winning on the road is hard.
While we have 40 seconds, who do you think? Give a prediction right now in 3 years. This was the other question we asked. In 3 years, who will be on this or who could be in serious contention
Like,
for
who's
this?
that guy that's
Who's the
going to
next?
be there?
Well, Danny is going to be there in 3 years.
Yeah, but he picked
Who's
a good
not?
one.
Who's not on the list?
Yeah. He picked a guy who's
You give
here
me
right
40
now.
seconds, and
I picked Nate Oates.
It's really good. He's doing a great job.
Hard to see them falling off or him falling off.
I mean, will Dusty flip Michigan?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know on that one.
Okay. I mean, I can't believe you didn't say Kelsey.
Let's talk. That's called a tease. We're going to talk about that next. Who do you trust more, Dusty May at Michigan or Pat Kelsey at Louisville?
Ooh.
This is Field of 68 live from the Final Four
Wait,
at
nobody
Huss
mentioned
Brewery.
Calipari?
Haven't heard by now, we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using the BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And 3, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the Final Four. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets on anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app and use that code FIELD to sign up today. By now, you guys have surely heard about Autograph, an app founded by Tom Brady with the intention of disrupting the way that fans consume content covering their favorite teams. Here's how the app works. All of the podcasters and bloggers and digital creators covering a team have their content sent to that team's page in Autograph. Instead of having to bounce from site to site or try to navigate the only safe for work spaces that are left on X, you just scroll through Autograph. This isn't a hard sell. This is the truth. I'm a UConn fan. I use the Autograph app to keep up with the writers I read and the pods that I listen to. The best part is that every piece of content that you consume gives you reward points. The more you get, the more chances you have at things like discounted tickets and signed memorabilia. Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of the Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at one of the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/unified68 to learn more and find a center near you. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system.
Welcome back to Huss Brewing Company on East Monroe Street in Phoenix. Come stop by and see us. We're here tomorrow as well from 4 to 7 local time, Sunday as well. John Fanta, Rob Dauster, Jeff Goodman, Doug Gottlieb with you on the field of 68. Robert.
Can I get a rating on that beer?
Very good.
Yeah,
10.
Very good.
I love Mexican beer. You know, Dos Equis, not as much Corona, right? I mean, you kind of go through the list. Right there, very, very good. And I feel like a little bit lighter, refreshing.
I think so.
I love it.
You have the
that's not a beer. That's an
Orange
Arnold Palmer.
Blossom.
I need
That's the Arnold Palmer that Doug ordered 3.5 hours ago.
On this show,
that's the Arnold Palmer finally can't. Give me that too. I'm thirsty as hell. I'll drink it up.
The last time you and I were together with him at the same table, and you, the last time the four of us were doing a segment together, Goodman's phone slammed on the table in New Orleans. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Where's the guy that he was mad at?
All right. We like to break YouTube on this show.
Yes.
Okay, with an algorithm.
Sure.
You started to bring up a take before we went to break on the coaching Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Who do you want to submit to the current coaching Mount Rushmore in college?
John Calipari.
Like, again, we're talking about current. The guy's in the hot seat. What are you thinking?
Okay. I mean,
what? Like
what
5 years ago.
What am I thinking? Like
5 years ago,
UMass
yes.
national champion, UMass Final Four.
Doug, we didn't ask you for the 1999 Mount Rushmore.
Listen, Memphis continue. No, what is Mount Rushmore? I guess you got to describe what Mount Rushmore.
I told you what we were doing. The current Mount Rushmore.
No,
yes.
You said the current Mount Rushmore. He's currently coaching. That was what you said. You had to currently be coaching. That was the.
No. That's what he said. I tried to give you a little more definition.
No.
Not a guy like Tom Izzo.
No,
in
then
totality.
you said in 3 years. Then Fanta said, what about in 3 years?
I said, like, the guys now. If you're going to choose guys right now, like Dan Hurley
Mount
would
Rushmore
be now.
Mount Rushmore is legendary.
But you put Dan Hurley on your Mount Rushmore, but he's only really done it at the highest level for 2 years.
2 years, correct.
Right.
So I wouldn't put him on the Mount Rushmore ahead of John Calipari, would you?
I'm putting him in the current. This is.
Goodman versus Gottlieb is on Stadium throughout the season.
Hold on. Wait. Let me ask you a question. Kansas lost the NCAA tournament what round this year?
Second.
Did they have a good year?
Not by their standards.
Not great.
No.
Not great. No.
Okay. Last year, what year did they lose in the NCAA tournament?
Something coming at me there. The
Second
bird.
round.
Last year, they have a good year.
Second round
of the tournament, right?
But Bill was out.
No, okay, but wait. You're saying like current. Like you're sitting there going like, well, Bill Self, like, I agree. I think, and I know he won a national championship 3 years ago. I understand that. Okay, but the point is that, like, look, they're all going to go through some. If you do this thing for 30 years, and the landscape of the sport has dramatically changed,
and Bill Self will change with it. I'm not sure Mark Few and Tony Bennett are going to adapt with it. That was my issue yesterday.
Did John Calipari adapt with it this year?
Sort of. I mean, in a way he did, but in a way
I don't know.
he went too young.
I don't know.
He went too young. So he didn't really adapt. Your adapting is going to the portal. No, he didn't adapt. There's your answer. No.
Okay, I mean, did they change the way they played?
Yeah, but great. But if you got young dudes,
he didn't have all young dudes.
He got lucky. He shouldn't have had Antonio Reeves.
Dude, everything is getting lucky with all this
real
stuff.
luck. That's real luck. The kid was taking classes at Illinois State.
Okay.
He's gone.
And then all of a sudden a bag of money showed
Trey
up at his
Mitchell.
door, right?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. If you were John Calipari right now, and you've been given an extra lease, right? You've been given an extra year.
Yes.
What would you do? What's the roadmap to making sure that
go buy the best players? The same thing Kentucky's done forever, only it's legal now. This is not hard. Okay? Go buy the best players. Go, I want that one, and I want that one, I want that one, and that one. Forget the high school recruiting crap. That doesn't help you. And if you do, you have them, they don't want to sign, they don't want to show up, fine. You want to win? You want to keep your job?
Yes.
You want to be king of Camelot?
You can have a
then
couple-
go buy the best players.
You can have, like,
go
two
get
freshmen.
AJ Storr. Go get Kadari
That's $1
Richmond.
million.
Okay. You said, what would you do if you were John Calipari? Okay, and you have a new lease on life, and you got a $33 million
had to
buyout.
set
I go
up-
buy Kadari Richmond. I go buy AJ Storr. I go buy the best players. Because you know what? That generally makes the best coaches. I told you this story. I was a kid, and I went to the Final Four with my dad, and I went to a clinic. Okay, and they had the clinic, and they had speakers. They had the old overhead projector, and on the overhead projector, it was Guy Lewis, and Guy Lewis said, "Okay, you circle it. You put 5 X's. Kim
You
English.
can't just leave. I don't get it.
No,
they
because
can't just leave the set.
No, because they know we're going to argue back and forth.
All right.
And Guy Lewis drew up 5 X's and 5 O's. And he's like, now we've tried this at University of Houston, tried and true formula. You have 5 X's and there are better 5 O's, then you're a hell of a coach. And John Calipari's not an idiot. He's a good coach.
He's a good coach.
And then if you go and get the
Absolutely.
best 5 X's, you're going to be awesome.
They have to fit together.
So you
Those
yes.
5, they got to fit together.
I understand
That's
that.
a key.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, like, John asked a really honest question, okay? And Kim can tell you this.
As
like,
we welcome on Providence head coach Kim English.
Like, look, if you're Kentucky and you have all that money and you want to be good, go buy the best players. This is not rocket science.
So let's welcome in Coach English off of a very strong year 1 at the helm at Providence. Obviously, the great news
Look at him
yesterday.
shaking his head already.
After a great campaign by the Big East Player of the Year, Devin Carter, I know how happy you are for him as he pursues that dream. We're just talking about what a head coach does in the offseason, what it takes right now in the current climate of college basketball. So tell us how you're attacking things right now and what the day-to-day is like.
He's really working on his short game, right?
Well, it's not monolithic, right? Everyone's approach is different. You know, mid-major, high-major contenders, rebuilding, a lot of evaluating, and very quickly, there's some really cool sites now that can help us. You know, we can just punch in a player's name and their expected value at our level in our league will pop up. Now, that's not the end-all, be-all. You still got to watch the tape. You got to find, the decision makers around the kid, and start communication with the kid. The recruiting is like, it's popcorn recruiting now, or microwave recruiting right now, because, once you start with a kid, another really good one is going to come in. Nate Thomason on our staff, he started just saying, portal don't stop. And it doesn't stop. It really doesn't stop. Great players are continuing to enter, and it's a busy time of the year.
How big is the roster construction, though, have you looked at, you want to retain a few, obviously, because you want to have some synergy within your program, and those guys know what to expect out of you. Have you kind of thought of how many transfers, how many high school guys? Have you thought about that, or is that just kind of,
Again,
it depends?
that's very fluid. That's very fluid. At the beginning of the season, we don't know Devin Carter is going to be a draft pick. You don't know. So high school guys are still very, very, very important. The young guys on your roster are still very, very, very important. The development of those guys. We got the guys that are in our group, the young guys that didn't play much or played barely this season. We're doubling and tripling down on their development, because you don't want to have to build a team every year in the portal. It's exhausting. It would be exhausting.
What about resource allocation, right? You talked about this. There's no monolithic approach to it, right? Some people, you go all in on 1 or 2 guys. Some people want to spread it out and be even. What's your philosophy?
Providence does a great job. Our NIL collective, our pool of money is competitive. We think we can get any player we want. We're not just throwing unrealistic dollars at players. If it's the first thing that comes up in conversation, we're probably out on a player. It's about the team. It's about the group, how they mesh together, how well they play together. So again, money's not an issue. We're not going to lose a player. Our biggest donors have really stepped up and made it clear if we need a player, we're not going to let money be the issue. We're not going to get a guy.
How can you tell in, like you said,
but sometimes money is the issue. We're not going to get a guy because we're just not willing to play that game.
Right.
It's a lot of lying going on right now.
How can you tell when you're microwave recruiting about somebody's a winner, right? I mean, because you're somebody who, I know how you're driven. Like every day you want to win every single day, right? You're a super competitive human being.
Yeah, well, you can see it. I mean, you can see it. Did they win at their last place? But that's not always the truth. Like Tristan Newton didn't win much at East Carolina,
so how can you tell?
He's a champion. Now, you talk to him, you watch him, you see what it looks like, their willingness to do the things that translate to winning. Getting a winning player is great. Someone that's been around winning, culture, but again, it's so many different, players out there and all that stuff.
How different is it for you now? Like last year when you were in the portal, a lot of them were guys that you coached when you were at George Mason.
Yeah, getting a job helps. Getting a new job really helps with the portal recruitment because you can just bring the best ones from your last place. We got one player from the portal last season that we didn't coach. He ended up leaving us in September, which is crazy. Yeah, it's different. It's different. I don't have any players to bring from my old place.
So this is kind of new for you, right?
No. Well, we went my second year at George Mason. We had to recruit kids out of the portal, so not really.
I got to ask you this because I'm watching you coach against Marquette in the Big East semifinals, and you are willing it out of your team, the intensity of the game. You're stomping, you're energetic, you're into it. Your fan base
got teed up.
Not against Marquette. That's fake news.
Yeah, fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news from Bobby D.
Did not get a tech.
Shocking.
Great. That's all right. We won't.
What about our journalistic integrity? You can't just be back here.
Oh, that's out the window here. That's out the window.
Not for me, man.
I would
Next
love
thing
to
you know,
know, like you hear about the Big East, and then you're coaching in this league at the Garden, but just throughout the nights of this league, Hurley, Pitino, McDermott. What was year one in the Big East like, coaching in this league?
It was, it's heaven, man. It's such a great basketball. And it started in Ponte Vedra, our league meetings, just the professionalism of it all. I mean, you got John Cow, Mike Tranghese, Art Highland. I mean, like Jay Wright's there. Like, I mean, John Paquette. Like, just the history of the league, the professionalism of the league. It's different. I've been in some leagues where every coach hates each other, every program hates each other. We're going to battle each other. We're going to compete, our balls off. But it's a professionalism, and after it's all said and done, we're all in our group chat, cheering on everyone, through this tournament. Hope Shaheen gets it done tonight and hope
they're up 2 right now in the second half.
You just jinxed them, Rob.
There we go.
I want to ask you about the group chat dynamic. So who's the most annoying guy in the group chat?
No one's annoying.
Who's the guy that doesn't do anything other than just react to a text? Who's that?
No one.
No one does a thumb up.
You're not gonna give us anything.
He's giving you nothing.
I'll show you guys. Hey, what's the latest on Bryce Hopkins and his
doing
recovery?
Great. He'll start jogging next week. He's doing great. But back to the Big East in Madison Square Garden, there's nothing like it. That tournament.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask you something really honest, okay? You won the Big 12 championship in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, you had the wars with Kansas in Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right, that's a rivalry, guys, that goes back to the Civil War.
No, okay,
okay.
The Big 12 tournament. No, the Big 12 tournament is cute compared to the Big East tournament in New York City. Like, seriously, it's good. I played it, and I won it twice.
Yeah,
it's good, but like
the atmosphere,
right? You're talking about Connecticut, Providence, St. John's in the semifinals. Like, it's different, man. It's different.
Fans are fighting in the stands.
It's different.
Yes.
I mean, it's different.
It's like it's a mini SEC. It's an SEC football to basketball sort of thing, where it's all they care about. It's literally all they care about.
It literally is all they care about.
There's nothing else that matters to a Providence fan than how their men's
There's no
basketball
football.
team does,
Right.
which is just like football in the SEC.
Like the Big 12 tournament, and it's great. I mean, it's a great tournament. I think it's the second best. In Kansas City, it should stay there every year. It's incredible. But, like, there's a chance that Texas Tech, now might be playing Colorado or Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game. That championship game is not going to be like 2 years ago. It was it Creighton Marquette in the final?
That's right,
2 years
and the
ago?
building was full.
And the building is packed. That's Omaha, Nebraska, Milwaukee, and New York City. It's just different. It's an incredible league.
How much of that were you aware of when you got the job, and what was the most surprising part about it now that you are in it and not just a
Well, I
spectator
grew
from
up
the outside?
watching not the old Big East, but the West Virginia, Louisville, Pitt, Syracuse Big East. That's the Big East I grew up loving. DeJuan Summers, Marcus Hatton, Rudy Gay, guys from Baltimore. But
Mello.
But I didn't know, and it's even I think had a resurgence since all the new hires: Thad, Rick, Ed at Georgetown, Dan, Shaka. It's real, man. It's such a good league. The fans, the administrations, the coaches. It's the best.
How do you beat UConn?
You have to be mature beyond belief. And I don't want to get a recipe on TV. I didn't have a recipe. I didn't have a formula.
Right.
We lost by
Okay, what
9,
makes
lost by
them
14.
so good, Kim?
They don't beat themselves. They're connected. This semifinal, just as far as style of play, shot quality, might be two of the smartest teams in the country. Alabama, UConn, Dan and Nate, they're cut from the same cloth. Shot quality, shot creation, shot value, offensive rebounding. Defense, it's going to be a great game.
What is your relationship with Dan like?
It's good. Like, it's a really good relationship. We text on the side sometimes. He's a great coach. You got no choice but to respect a guy that has come up the way he's come up from the high school ranks through Wagner, the URI to UConn, and as a coach. You have to respect that output on the court every night.
Now, you come into a job where obviously when you're coming in, the program is in a unique state in that they had won, as John Henson.
Look, tell you something right now.
Go ahead, cut me
we
off.
had our rookie transition meetings.
Oh, I want some stories.
Kim was the only one to take it serious. I'm drinking a beer at Field of 68. He's the head coach of Providence. Should tell you something about that, kids at home.
How many years you playing in NBA? How many years you playing in NBA?
Listen, I'm
That's
just
a lot
saying.
different.
Thank God I can play a little basketball. That's
I
it.
played one. How many years you play?
8.
8. Yeah, I played one. So.
Cleveland Cavaliers, great.
Give or take.
Being a Cavs fan.
Year and a half.
What? You're taking over a job that when you take over, obviously your fan base, passionate as ever, was not pleased with what happened at the end of the previous tenure. I'm not asking you about that. How would you describe the passion of the people in Providence, Rhode Island? And when you're around those people, how much does it make you think, like, I can't be anywhere else but at a place that puts basketball at this level? Because those people quite literally live it. They're on X. They're on social media. They make movements happen.
They're the best. They're the best.
The best.
They're the absolute best. I was at Missouri. Kansas
the best.
fans are great.
I'd definitely say the best.
I was at Tennessee. Kentucky fans are great. You talk about supporting your team no matter what. Like, I don't care what the dispute is on the side of things. I'm riding with Friar fans 11 times out of 10.
Did you bring me a vest?
You're going to order them. FriarFamilyNIL.com. Order your vest.
He just, yeah.
When you lose, what do you like? What do you do?
Think about it. Talk to our team. What's our next schedule? Watch it, improve from it, and move on.
Some guys really, they really internalize it, shut down for a couple of days, don't return texts. For you, and especially because, as we discussed, at Providence, in the Big East, There's just so much emotion in these games. I'm just wondering what like that.
Well, I don't go out. I don't go to eat. I usually go on campus to have lunch and stuff. When we lose, I don't go. I'm embarrassed. I was the same as a player. I didn't want to go to class. I'm embarrassed. I didn't want to show my face. But I'm the same guy every day. I don't change. Same guy in the office. Same guy with. If I don't answer the text, it's just because there's so many. But yeah, you feel it. When you lose in Friartown, you feel it. Everyone, because it's Mike Tranghese told me, and we were talking about the job. He said, it's what people in Rhode Island do to get through the winter, and he's right. We're playing Columbia open night. What more do you want out of a fan base? Seriously, what more do you want? I'm like, you tell me, what more do you want out of a fan base? Like, I'm a Baltimore Orioles fan, right? And I will win, lose. I'm an Orioles fan. I love the Orioles. Now we have a couple good years in a row. I think we have a chance to win it this year. That's like PC fans. Like, we lose, we're at the end of our season. We're scratching, we're clawing. We got a great chance against Villanova at home to punch our ticket, we think, lay an egg. Okay, go maybe beat Georgetown next, and then come back, UConn at home. Another chance, number 1 team in the country, packed, sold out. We lose. I'm like, man, we're letting our fans down. And we get to New York City, and we walk out there that first game. So what more do you want?
Mm-hmm. What more do you want? It's a huge advantage.
I mean,
huge home court advantage.
They're the best.
Yeah.
I mean, recruits say, man, they're blowing me up on social media, man. Like, we feel them. It's like, you talk about when we first got to Providence. Mm-hmm. This is fact. None of our players wanted to leave. That's a fact. Stephen Appolillo did a great job holding those guys over for 48 hours, whatever it was. But when we got there, Bryce Hopkins, Devin Carter, they didn't stay at Providence because of me. They didn't stay at Jaden Pierre. They didn't stay at Providence. They didn't want to leave.
No, I want to ask you about Devin, because he's a guy that's going to have NBA opportunities coming up here soon. Break down his game. You played in the NBA. How does he translate? How does he fit at the next level?
Seamlessly. It's just toughness, competitiveness, work ethic is 10 out of 10. And I got 45 seconds. See, I'm not good at this. I can't handle the pressure. Just telling me I got it. Like, time. You know what I mean? Like, what do I do?
You got time.
Like, what did Jimmy V say?
Listen, here's what I'll tell you.
What Jimmy V say?
Dauster and Goodman blow through the breaks all the time.
This guy tells me I got 30 seconds.
Kids on my body. 30 seconds.
I'll let you go. How long,
10 seconds. 9, 8.
How long have you known him for?
6.
Well, I still got him in here as Kimmy. I still got him.
He had to do it.
He's in here as Kimmy.
He had to do it.
It's true. I'll show it to you.
There he is. Kim English. Kim, best of luck here.
Final Four. Babushka.
There you go.
There's Coach English. Back with more from Huss Brewing. Go Friars after this.
Haven't heard by now, we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using the BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And 3, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the Final Four. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets on anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app and use that code FIELD to sign up today. By now, you guys have surely heard about Autograph, an app founded by Tom Brady with the intention of disrupting the way that fans consume content covering their favorite teams. Here's how the app works. All of the podcasters and bloggers and digital creators covering a team have their content sent to that team's page in Autograph. Instead of having to bounce from site to site or try to navigate the only safe for work spaces that are left on X, you just scroll through Autograph. This isn't a hard sell. This is the truth. I'm a UConn fan. I use the Autograph app to keep up with the writers I read and the pods that I listen to. The best part is that every piece of content that you consume gives you reward points. The more you get, the more chances you have at things like discounted tickets and signed memorabilia. Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of The Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at one of the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/unified68 to learn more and find a center near you. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system.
Back to the Field of 68, live from the Final Four, Huss Brewing Company. We are on East Monroe Street. Come stop and see us. We're watching. We have the NIT championship game on in the background. And Hinkle Fieldhouse does not have an empty seat. Like, I know it's the NIT, it's not the NCAA tournament, but Sycamore fans have filled it up. Obviously, Josh Schertz's name is rumored at St. Louis, and he could take that job. He could make that official as soon as later on tonight. But cool to see those two teams are going down the wire with 3 minutes left. Indiana State just went up 7. Might have hit a dagger 3 there.
I'm on Indiana State money line.
Dagan.
Are you?
I'm on Indiana State.
John Henson.
I'm on Indiana State money line.
What's the line? What's the line?
Money line.
Henson took money line, Indiana State.
Yeah,
Smart guy.
Indiana State, yeah, you know.
Let's get back to this Final Four here as we hit
My pick of the day on the Doug Gottlieb show was Indiana and the points. Indiana State and the points.
Really?
So,
What was it?
Three
and a half.
3-point favorite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's
Minus
talk
160.
we partner with BetMGM.
I just took it.
We partner with BetMGM.
That's how much of a lock it is.
I think the latest I saw,
so much of a lock it is.
Purdue and NC State is at 9.5, and then you got
NC State has no shot.
UConn, Alabama's at 11.5.
None.
So is that a hammer? Is that a hammer?
Why? Why do they have no shot?
Because what they look. I love that they put Michael O'Connell as a guy who is a pass first and second, shoot third point guard. I love they got a true point guard, and he's just moving the ball, and that's changed him. But DJ Burns has dominated this tournament. He can't do nothing with that big dude. That guy's too big. He can't do nothing with that guy. Nothing.
What
with that guy?
Does NC State have a
that
shot?
dude is so big.
Yeah.
Unless you can shoot threes, unless you can move.
I was on with Robbie Hummel today, and he was saying that when Purdue has guys like Burns, they might put the 4 on him and then just help with Edey. So I don't know if that's going to be their strategy, but I think Edey on him would be just fine. I don't know. What do you think, RC? I don't see a path to winning regardless, but
I'm not saying that they can win, but I do think you guys are, and I say this, he plays off the field because he wants to feel your body, and he spins off you to create angles.
Yeah.
And I think the way you defeat length and athleticism is finishing off angles. And I think can he be effective enough in that and dribble handoffs with Horn? He needs his perimeter guys to make shots in DHOs to pull Edey away from the basket to give him room or angle to finish. So
well, here's let me support you. Let me support you on that. Okay, the one thing, and frankly, it's something that it's really hard for me, based upon who I play with, to sometimes watch is Keats lets those wings go. And again, the reason that they're so much better now is they have one less dude who tries to go get his.
Yeah.
Okay, but those other two, like Marcel, like they can go get buckets. Right. Now if they go crazy, yeah, I could. The problem is that Purdue is so disciplined,
yes,
and they're so physical. Now, what I do like about playing Middlebrooks, and like he's a lot like some of those Purdue guys. Comes in, fouls the crap out of you, offensive rebounds, just energy guy, not a ton of skill at that level, not a ton of athletic talent at that level. But again, like Purdue's got like 3 or 4 guys like that just come in and hammer you. And you pay so much attention to Edie, so much attention to him that they shoot and miss, and all of a sudden they get an offense rebound, kick out, and hit a 3. Like, that's their best offense.
Let's talk about Edie. What impresses you the most about the 2-time National Player of the Year?
I'd say the hardest thing for me in my career was taking my time down low. That was the biggest thing. Taking my time, and I think the way he's so patient and the way he controls the game, that is something that I'm super impressed with because they're coming at him all different ways, and he never speeds them up.
We welcome on with the redeemed
long time
shirt,
no
the
see,
head
man.
coach
Look,
of
man. This is my
Kansas,
guy,
Jerome Tang.
As quiet as it's kept.
Man, look.
I made his first offer.
Listen.
Really?
Yep.
In the gym.
Yep.
In the gym. This is my first offer. Baylor was on me before anybody.
Is that right?
True story. And back in the day, you couldn't like directly offer. So he goes to my dad. He goes, we want to offer your son a scholarship to Baylor. Just want to let you know, I'm right there beside him. First offer I ever got. Baylor was on me early. They got an eye.
Henson, just so you know, they offered 22 other players at your position.
That's fine. That's fine. They were still the first school to really introduce me to the recruiting world. And they had PlayStations in the locker. I mean, I was like,
Yes,
I was locked in.
What'd you think of him? What'd you see in this guy?
Length, touch, and at that time, you're still trying to figure out where your hands and your feet were.
Yep,
but you could see it. The touch.
Gangly dude, right?
Touch.
Yeah.
You can't teach touch.
Yeah, for sure.
So, no, it was awesome.
So what? We've talked to a lot of coaches already about this, about the portal, and it's almost surprising to see you walking around because it's almost like, can you not be locked into the portal? We think you're literally sitting in front of your laptop watching film of every player right now to try to get a feel for what's going on. You already got a pretty good player out of the portal. I don't know if we can talk about it yet.
Yeah, he signed.
He did.
Yes.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, Doug McDaniels.
Yeah. Huge
for us.
Yeah.
Man, big time player, super competitor. Just a terrific kid. We're so fired up about him, man. And
you love those small guards.
Yeah, well,
right?
Size does not determine size.
No, I know, but
understand
you've
that,
had
right?
success with him.
Yeah. Oh man.
Which helps.
Yes. No, it does. But he's a blur.
So tell me what life is like right now. If you had to describe again, right now you're out, your wife's over there. You're going to try to, have a night where you actually enjoy yourself. But how you've been in this a long time and seen it change right now. Be honest with me a little bit. Like, what's it like right now? Because there's no real downtime like there used to be.
Well, when I got hired a couple of years ago, people asked me if it was a whirlwind, and it really wasn't a whirlwind at that time. This is a whirlwind. So, I've got 7 guys on staff who can recruit, right? They're making phone calls, they're watching film, they're talking to 5 recruits, and every recruit has at least 2 people around them, right? So that turns into 15.
And they all have like 2 agents.
Right. And then you have 15 times 7. All of them want to talk to me. Right. And they're all hitting me like, Coach, call this person, call that person,
So
talk
what do
to
you
this
say?
person.
What do you do?
I got to I'm on the phone constantly talking to them. And while I'm talking to one, 3 other guys go in the portal.
Right.
A lot of coaches say, well, this isn't what I originally got into it for. This isn't the original reason why I got into it. How do you manage through that of like, look, this is so different from what it used to be while also still loving it?
Yeah, well, I'm passionate about developing young men, right? And so I know that we pray before every one of our staff meetings, God, send us the ones you want us to have and block the ones that you don't. And we've been real fortunate. God's been very favorable to us in sending us the right guys. And so our number one priority is take care of the guys we have. And if we do a good job there, then the ones we want to stay are going to stay, and the ones that need to leave are going to leave. And then we have to go out and find guys to replace them. And now it's about finding guys that fit what we're about, who we are about, what we believe in, and how we want to do business every day.
How do you balance developing guys as players and potentially losing them? Is that a thought in the sense of when you're recruiting a guy for the portal, like, hey, look, you think he's going to stay? Hey, this might be a one-year guy. Like, how does that go into thinking?
The crazy thing is that I have a really good friend, Tim Maloney, and he told me, he said, he said, you teach basketball, but you coach people. And so really I'm spending every year trying to coach the person, trying to help these guys become better. Because they become better men, they'll become better basketball players. And if they're with us for a couple of years and we get them to a point and they feel like there's someplace else that can take them to the next spot, then, man, we're going to love them at a distance.
Your energy, I think I've always said this, your energy is the only person I think might have more. Pat Kelsey might have more than you. He might have more, believe it or not. But your energy is so contagious, and I think that's one of the things that you brought to that Kansas State program and that fan base. And, you know, we know they're crazy, right? They're crazy. How much, again, going from being an assistant to a head coach, have you changed?
Ooh. Well, you know, being with Scott all those years, Scott allowed you to act like a head coach.
Yep.
You know, take ownership of parts of the program and make it your own, and you know, and that's what helped prepare me. And so, Jerome Dowling, he tells guys right now, hey, Coach Tang's recruiting like an assistant. You know, that's what we have to do, right? Because that's the lifeblood of the program. I mean, I'm not that good of a coach. I got to get good players. And so that's why I'm fired up about Doug McDaniels and the next set of guys that are coming in.
You're 45-25 in 2 years at Kansas State. That's pretty damn good, and you did a lot of good at Baylor. I'm curious. This is the thing that this guy, we talk about, like, look, as a traditionalist, he's an Arizona grad. It's weird seeing the Pac-12 totally break up.
I hate it.
I know you hate it. But you've got Arizona coming into your league, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah. Like, this league was already the best in college basketball. How is that going to work?
Well, hopefully they invite more teams to the tournament. I know some of you guys, traditionalists, aren't for that.
Tell us why.
Dude, wait,
why?
hold on. All I'll say is this. If they keep putting me in the 7th floor, I ain't coming to your tournament again.
No, he's saying more teams.
I know it is. I know it is. I know it is.
But why should the NCAA tournament expand?
Because of this that's going on right now. Indiana State, Seton Hall, 77-77, 31 seconds to go in the game.
Wants 128 teams in the tournament.
Both of those teams should have been in the NCAA tournament.
If the tournament is great the way it is, it's great. 68's a good number.
Well, people
64's
used to
even
say,
better.
Oh, Dre Davis to the bucket. 15 seconds left. Sycamore's down by 2. Seton Hall has not won a championship since 1953. Clock down to 8.1, and Josh Shirt says the St. Louis job can wait. I want a timeout.
That was a really good timeout, by the way. They didn't.
It was.
He let them go in transition, see if they could catch the defense.
And they did.
You know, be organized when they're disorganized, and when the defense got organized, he called the timeout.
Isn't the NCAA tournament the best event in sport?
It is. So why wouldn't we want more people to experience it?
I don't want to water it down.
Well, how does that water it down? So are the playing games watered down?
Are the playing games for what?
The playing games for the NCAA tournament watered down.
Kinda.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I love it the way it is. I think it's great because I don't want to see, no offense, but I don't want to see some team that's like under 500 overall going to the NCAA tournament.
I don't know.
We'll see that. If we go to 96, we'll see it.
I don't
watch.
know. You know that you got college football, like there are more bowl games.
Doesn't mean it's good.
I got you, but those
the only reason the bowl games are good because everybody's gambling on them.
Coaches get to go to bowl games. They
don't mean
their
shit.
jobs.
Guys
lose their jobs.
Do you think that if you expand the tournament, there will start being opt-outs for guys that are maybe potential pro prospects? Prospects are like, I'm not about to play another 3 weeks before I even get into the. Or you think everyone's going to say, hey, look, I can.
Everyone starts the season wanting to play in this event.
You're right.
In this event right here,
I think
everyone
it's different
wants
than
the
football
chance.
because football, those bowl games are irrelevant. You're not playing for anything.
If I'm 96 teams and I got a path, I got to play, you know.
I don't think
10
that matters.
games.
I don't
know.
think that would matter.
If you go to 80 teams,
80 teams is a good number.
More games on that Tuesday,
my idea,
Wednesday.
Again, I have one idea for expansion.
I like this idea too.
I like it if we expand it all, and it's basically to pit the Final Four high majors against the Final Four mid majors, play them against each other to get in the main bracket. So it's almost a play-in.
Yeah.
So you're adding like 8 teams to play in. Because what's the argument? The argument is, do they deserve Indiana State or Virginia?
Oh, he fouled him.
And everybody's now saying it's
he blocked it.
the Sycamores. Did you get fouled?
Shoot it.
Oh, for
There
the
we
win! That's it!
Oh,
Seton Hall has won the NIT! Shaheen Holloway and the Pirates, for the first time in 71 years have won a championship nationally.
Did you play in the NIT this year? I don't even know.
Wow.
Yeah, we did. Lost to Iowa.
Okay.
Yeah, at their
Shows
place.
you how much.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow everything. It is. Once the NCAA tournament starts, and that's, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Can you give more kids opportunities? What's so bad about that? I don't disagree with you there, but I do feel like it's a good number. And again, people always compare it to the bowl games, and I'm like, but so many of these bowl games don't matter. They don't really matter. Just because there's a bigger percentage of football coaches playing in the postseason doesn't mean that's a good thing.
No, I'm with you there on that, but I just know that a few more games in that round that we play anyhow.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away anything, gives more kids a chance to play in the tournament, more coaches an opportunity, keep their jobs one more year.
Do a mid versus high. Do a mid versus high, because
However
then
they
I would
wanna
be
raise it.
intrigued.
Yes.
But I don't want to see, no offense, but I'm not sure I want to see you guys this year against the 12th place team in the ACC.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I
That's
feel like,
fair.
don't you feel like, did you feel like you earned a spot this year? You were close. You were close. You played well at the end.
Yeah, our resume was close.
Right.
But we lost some close games that we didn't need to lose.
Right.
You know, we
Don't
need to
you
win
feel
one
like,
more
though,
non-conference,
that
one more
it
conference.
means more. It means more. It's more. I don't know. It just means more to have 64.
But I would have loved to see Tyler Perry have a chance to play in this thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He had a great year.
He did.
No
and he
question.
chose to come to us and our
Now-
school for the chance to play
I
in the
hear
NCAA
you.
tournament.
I hear you on that.
Now, I'm gonna ask you the question of, you've been a great coach, great assistant, now getting your head coach opportunity, which is much deserved. The way that our world works, names get brought up on the coaching carousel all the time. Your name, it's not news that your name gets brought up with things. What's your message to Kansas State fans right now?
Man, I'm real thankful that I'm not on Jeff Goodman's hot seat right now. Right? See that's it. Like you're either doing well and somebody's putting your name in for a job, or you're not doing well and Jeff Goodman's got you on the hot seat. And I'm with Brad Brunell right now. I'm happy to be off the hot seat. Right?
I tried to get him to commit.
Scott Drew's never been on the hot seat. How about that? How many years? 22? What's he been there?
Yeah, this is 22.
He's never been on my hot seat. How about, this is a great story. I don't know if I've said this. I think I have, about Matt Painter. And I told him this today. Matt Painter 10 years ago was on my hot seat. He had 2 really bad years at Purdue. And he called me, and he says, like, most guys are calling me and they're dropping F-bombs on me. You know, I can't believe it. Matt Painter says, you know what? I deserve to be in the hot seat. Like, how many dudes do that?
Yeah.
Not many.
Well, Painter's a truth teller.
Not my gosh.
And
He totally is.
He's a truth teller. That's why you see his teams like they do the way they do. He looks those guys in the eyes, tells them the truth in recruiting, gets them on campus, lives up to his word with them, and that's why they love him. I thought that hug, Zach Edey ran by everyone to go hug Painter when they won that game. Right? Man,
says a lot.
Yeah, it says a lot, man. It says a lot.
When you look at your job and Kansas State as a program, the Big 12 is obviously stacked with big-time brands and big-time programs. What do people nationally not appreciate about Kansas State basketball?
Well, there's a history there, right, of the Final Fours, Sweet 16s. I think we've gone to more Sweet 16s than ever, except for maybe 15 programs in the country. So there's a history of basketball. It is a basketball school. Our fan base, man, they are passionate. And you feel it.
Listen, when I was there for that Kansas game 2 years ago,
yes,
wow,
yeah,
like I'm not sure there was a better atmosphere that I've been to in the last 2 years. And I've been to some good ones. That was unbelievable. Your fan base is. I mean, they're electric, and you know how to get them going too. I mean, how many coaches are going to go in the crowd after the games like that?
Well, man, I just appreciate everything the students do for us, and not just our athletic program, right? But what they do in the community. I mean, they do so much philanthropic work there, and taking care of our community and work in the elementary schools. And, man, our students go way above and beyond. And so I want them to know how much I appreciate them in wins and losses.
Fanta, do you know when I first met this guy, do you know where he was coaching?
Heritage?
Heritage Christian.
Yep.
Heritage Christian. Another prep school coach.
Yep.
Where's Heritage Christian?
Cleveland, Texas, about 45 minutes north of Houston.
So how did you meet him?
On the circuit.
Yeah, that's right.
On the circuit.
And what'd you think? What'd you think of this guy?
I was like, who is this dude?
Oh, hey,
Who
I
is
don't know.
this
I got
dude?
a Dan Hurley story.
Go ahead.
Oh, this is good. This is good.
We're at the one of the tournaments in Ohio. It's a really good tournament they have in Ohio.
I know which one though.
With a-
Not the.
I
know.
Part of Ohio.
Flying to the hoops.
Flying to the hoop.
Flying to the hoop at Walsh University?
Yes. And so we're out there, and everybody has a practice time and an auxiliary gym, and ours is like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's 8 to 9, and then he's coming in afterwards, and we're in there, and I'm probably running a little bit late, but trying to wrap the guys up and get out, and he's waiting for me, and I get done, and I said, hey, Coach, I'm sorry, man. Sorry we were running a little late. He said, Coach, man, I'm just happy to see you in here. A lot of coaches don't bring their guys in 8 o'clock in the morning to work, and he said, we're about to get in some work here, and I always remember that, man. Just, he was early with his team, ready to go, and we ran a little late. He was gracious to let us stay a little bit longer, and was real kind, so happy for him.
The one thing about this dude is, again, had some opportunities to coach, and he waited his turn. He waited for the right one, right?
Yeah.
You waited for the right one.
I love that about
And a lot of guys, like, you wonder, did I make the right move? Turning down some of those jobs that you turned down. But certainly, listen, you got a great job. You got a great fan base, and you've had a hell of a first 2 years.
Yeah, well, we're thankful. Got an unbelievable staff, and blessed to be in Manhattan, and excited about what we have for the future.
Appreciate
Jerome
it,
Tang.
man.
Coach,
Thanks.
thanks.
Jerome Tang.
One of the greatest guys, man. So
Thank
Yeah, you are.
Even
Coach
though you
Tang,
turned
thank
him
you.
down.
Hey, go Cats.
Even though you turned him down.
listen, man.
First offer.
Listen, I swear.
First offer. What about loyalty?
Baylor they were right there though. Not like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
North Carolina got me in the trenches. North Carolina but Baylor, North Carolina got me in the trenches.
It wasn't even close. Come on.
For sure.
Jerome Tang.
He'll tell you.
That's great stuff. Hey, well, we got a moment. Want to tell you about Huss Brewing, local Arizona brewery owned by Leah and Jeff Huss. Thank you to the Huss family for having us.
There he is.
Tempe, Arizona. They're here tonight. Proudly only available in Arizona. Come on over, Jeff. Visit findhussbeer.com to discover where Huss beer is sold. Jeff Huss is a Purdue alum. He's a Purdue alum. Huss Brewing Hoop Madness, April 5th to the 7th. $24 cases, $1 per beer. $4 32-ounce crawlers available at all Huss tap rooms. Huss Brewing here at East Monroe Street. It's right next to the Fan Fest and Phoenix Convention Center. Jeff, there literally isn't a better location for a place than what we've got here.
We've done a lot of live shows, Jeff. We've done a lot of live shows. This blows it away. I mean, everything.
Yes.
Obviously, the weather, the beer. Like, can I take a bunch of the Scottsdale Blonde home?
Of course you can.
I mean, so good.
Right?
By the way, what we didn't realize when we booked it with you, when we agreed to this deal, was that there's a college hoops connection here. There's a family connection.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, the name Huss. All of a sudden, Alan Huss, High Point head coach, hits me up yesterday, and he's like, yeah, this is my cousin. So give me a good story about Alan Huss.
Oh my gosh, I don't.
Got anything good?
I don't know if I do.
I mean, he's done such a good job in year one.
Yeah,
and he didn't think so. Like, he didn't think he would have this type of success.
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
They have been incredibly successful. I think that they were picked to be number 7 in the Big South.
They were.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep. And he wins the regular season
ended up
title.
winning it. Yeah.
So you're a Purdue fan.
I am.
All right. So tell us, did you go to Purdue?
I went to Purdue.
Okay.
Graduated 2004.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm out here because I graduated in December. It was a beautiful day, and the temperature, the high for the day was 1. Yeah. So I think that's ultimately
You were like, I got to get the hell out here.
Kind of had something to do with why I came out here.
So you moved out here when?
Moved out here in 2005 after
did.
graduating from brewing school. So yeah.
And then you've been out here since.
And then I've been out here.
I want to ask you about that. So I'm the beer snob
Okay.
out of this group. I'm the guy that actually cares about like what we're drinking instead of just
No, I
whatever's in
care,
front of
but
me.
I just don't try everything like you do.
He wants it cold.
Okay.
That's the only requirement. Sometimes
Understood.
it doesn't have to be cold.
That's fine.
I'm the beer snob here. So talk to me about your process of selecting what like the ingredients that are going to go into it, what you actually want to the kind of beer that you're actually trying to make. Like you got the Mandarin wheat here, we got the Imperial IPA. That's what I'm drinking over here. You can see it's the smaller glass. But talk to me a little bit about that process.
So ultimately, you just have to kind of decide what you want. What is the backbone? What are you looking for, right? And so we make very true to style beers at Huss Brewing Company. I've always been a very traditionalist as far as everything that we've made, right? So what is the color that you're looking for? You know, you got the basic things, right? So what's the color? What's the hoppiness? What's the alcohol content and everything else? And then you can go from there. You can make an incredibly high alcohol beer that looks just like that, right? It's not hard to do, right? You just have to use 2-row malted barley exclusively, or like, corn sugar and whatnot. Is that Scottsdale Blonde? There you go.
So good. So good.
It is so cheers.
So good.
Cheers to your boilers. How do you feel about your boilers heading into this week, my friend?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel
And
great.
You know what? Good for you, because Purdue
Thank
fans
you.
have waited a long time for this.
Yeah, no, I've waited a hell of a long time too.
Did you cry like Robbie Hummel?
Did you cry?
I don't. I thought I was going to, and I'm not sure if I
That's
did.
a yes.
I think
That's
it
a
was.
yes.
I think it
That's
was.
a yes.
I think there might
That's
have been
a
a
yes.
tear. I think I said
Whenever
that
you
it
have to
was
say,
going to happen.
Not
maybe,
sure. Right, I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
Maybe
it was a cry.
I might have to ask
It
your
was a
daughter
cry.
if you actually cried.
Did I cry? When Purdue won?
She's like,
No,
"Man, I
she
don't
says
know."
I did
Well,
that.
You were
yeah.
thinking
Will
about
he cry if they win the whole thing? Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes
There
is
you
the
go.
answer. So my last year at Purdue
Yeah.
was Matt Painter was the interim coach.
Okay.
So full disclosure, it took me 4.5 years to graduate. So my
took
my
me
last,
5.5.
My
Took me
last
5,
full
yeah.
year was my last full
I had the
year
COVID
was,
year before COVID year was the thing.
There you go. You got an extra year of eligibility. My last full year was Gene Katie's last year, who I just saw driving down the road. I said hi to him. But my last half of the year was Matt Painter's first year. So it's pretty incredible watching that transition. Meanwhile, my entire life, there's been 2 coaches at Purdue, which is pretty incredible.
Crazy.
Right?
No, Painter, as I told you before, like he's so different than every other head coach in college basketball.
I just walked downstairs and I just met him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I talked to him
never met
about
him?
Allen. No, he was talking
Really?
about Allen at Southern Illinois
Yeah.
and everything else. Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about
I mean, he's
Missouri
just
Valley Conference and everything.
He's
so
the ultimate regular dude when it comes to it. So if Purdue, I'm going to give you a scenario. If they win it all on Monday night, can we have something here for Purdue fans? Can we get something cooked up? Now, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yes.
Let them get through Saturday first.
Okay, we'll get through
but
Saturday.
if they do that, what can we do here for Purdue fans Monday night?
I mean, that might be a rager. I don't have
Rager,
any idea.
absolutely.
I don't even know what that means.
Will you have a shirt on?
no.
I don't know.
Are you going to the game?
I am not. No, I looked up. We
We got to make it happen.
Yeah.
We got to get him in.
We got to
my
figure that out.
my dad is a Purdue alum as well, and he's out here. And I was trying to get tickets, and I couldn't quite justify some of it. So
Wait, here's my advice. Wait until closer to game time.
Right, right.
The prices are going to come down.
you'll be all right.
Quite a bit.
just go out there with $30,000 in cash, holding it up, shirt off.
Just go out
Shirt
there
off
with all
is the
your
key.
beer.
That's what you need.
No,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
bring cases and cases of beer, and you'll be all set.
Exactly.
You'll be all
Yeah.
set.
Yeah,
We'll
thanks
just
for
we'll just
hosting
have you
us.
walk up.
You got it.
Jeff has a Robbie Hummel jersey, so just
I do.
walk up and say, "Hey, I'm Robbie Hummel. Can you let me in?"
I have to wear it tonight.
Yeah.
I love what
You
you
have
have.
to wear
I
it
need a
tonight?
lot more beer. I have to wear it to a party, this pumps party, which
Okay.
happens every year at the Final
Okay.
Four, and it's a bunch of coaches, and I lost the bet with Hummel, so I have to wear it tonight without anything underneath it, no undershirt. No
Jeff,
nothing.
I got one more beer nerd question
Go for it.
you. Okay, so the way that I've always determined like what breweries I like and what breweries know how to make a good beer is with the lagers, right? Because you could always just hop the shit out of something and make it so that it's just like a 9.3%
Yeah,
triple IPA or
1000%.
whatever, right? And people like me are going to drink it because we like the stronger beers,
Yeah.
like the flavor. Talk to me about the Lopes Lager. You guys partnered with Grand Canyon on this. How did you develop it? How did you?
That is a great deal that we have with them. That's a great partnership that we have with them because nobody lets you use their logo for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an actual partnership that we have with them, and so we're doing it's a German Kolsch that's in there, and it's an amazing beer. So it's Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Well, I know what else we could say.
It's a great partnership.
April 5th to the 7th, Huss Brewing Hoop Madness. It starts tomorrow. $24 cases, $1 per beer. $1 per beer.
He's like, damn, you shouldn't have told him that. We were making money before.
Come on, I know what it cost me to make it. Come on, we're not doing it for that cheap, are we?
I just read what's on the sheet of paper. $4 32-ounce crawlers available at all Huss tap rooms, and that's just it. This is not your only location. We are at 225 East Monroe Street. Come stop and see us, but you have a couple other locations.
Yeah, head up to Central and Camelback is the uptown location. The brewery is down at I-10 and Elliott, which is South Tempe, and then we have another location called Papago Brewing Company, which is in the Mesa Riverview behind Bass Pro Shop.
Awesome.
Jeff, thank you.
We appreciate it.
That's Jeff Huss.
Thanks for coming by. Really
Big time.
appreciate it.
We love being here. Stop and see us. We're back here tomorrow at 4 to 7. We're back here Sunday at 4 to 7. And then apparently Goodman is paying for everybody's beers Monday night after Purdue.
Right?
Boiler
We'll
up.
We'll figure it out.
Boiler up.
That's right.
There he is. We're going to take a timeout. We've got a final segment coming for you here. We'll break down more of our takeaways from Media Day 1 and go around the country with some coaching carousel updates as well. This is the Field of 68 live from Huss Brewing Company in Phoenix.
Haven't heard by now, we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using the BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. And 3, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the Final Four. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets on anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app and use that code FIELD to sign up today. By now, you guys have surely heard about Autograph, an app founded by Tom Brady with the intention of disrupting the way that fans consume content covering their favorite teams. Here's how the app works. All of the podcasters and bloggers and digital creators covering a team have their content sent to that team's page in Autograph. Instead of having to bounce from site to site or try to navigate the only safe for work spaces that are left on X, you just scroll through Autograph. This isn't a hard sell. This is the truth. I'm a UConn fan. I use the Autograph app to keep up with the writers I read and the pods that I listen to. The best part is that every piece of content that you consume gives you reward points. The more you get, the more chances you have at things like discounted tickets and signed memorabilia. Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of the Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at one of the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/unified68 to learn more and find a center near you. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system.
Go back to the Field of 68 live from the Final Four from Huss Brewing Company. We're on East Monroe Street. John Fanta, John Henson, Randolph, Childress. I'm surrounded by ACC greatness, and Kevin Sweeney at CPV. Central. Is there an underscore in between?
Yeah, there's an underscore.
CDB underscore Central. All right, let's jump in here. We welcome Kevin in. Kevin, you and I were at the stadium today, getting sound, talking with coaches, talking with players. Your biggest takeaway or two of the media availability sessions today?
I thought Purdue seemed like they had a lot more to prove. Like, I thought it was interesting. You know, it would have been very easy for them to feel like they've achieved something. They made the Final Four. They've got the demon off of them, their back, right? Like, all right, they've done it, right? That team felt incredibly focused, right? Like, I do not think there will be a letdown from this Purdue group on Saturday evening here in Phoenix. Like, I thought they were locked in. I think Matt Painter has just a phenomenal perspective about him. Obviously, we talked to him all year, and I think he's handled everything that's come with some of these March defeats of the past really, really well. But I think handling success at a really high level as well and doing a phenomenal job.
What do you make of that with the Boilermakers?
I think it answers a question that we had. You know, I mean, we've discussed that being an option. You know, because sometimes when you haven't gotten over the hurdle and then you get over it, there is a tendency to let your hair down and say, hey, you know what, we did it, like we finished it. And you want to win, but when you accomplish something that hasn't happened in quite a long time, and that can happen, a tendency just to relax and not focus and finishing the job.
Next to Zach Edey with this Purdue team, what's the biggest reason why they're here?
You know, it's crazy. I talked to Boo Bowie today. It was serious. And he was like, listen, man, them guards is nice. Like, don't sleep on Lawyer. You know, he's like, you know, people don't talk about them a lot, but they're tough. So that kind of gave me kind of insight into, you know, their guard play. We don't talk about it a lot, but I think the guard play from Smith and Lawyer were two of the things that people don't talk about a lot.
I think Braden Smith is maybe the most underrated player in the country. Like,
really?
He has been, and he's finally started to get some of that respect. But the fact that we were talking in mid to late January about him not being one of the top 10 point guards in America, like the way he has run that team, the way that he has contributed consistently for this Purdue team, the way that they've been able to change how they play, right? Purdue last season was so post-up oriented. This year, they're playing out of ball screens. They're trusting Braden Smith to make good decisions with the basketball. They're trusting him to go score if teams really lock down on Zach. Like, he has been everything Purdue could have hoped for and more after taking so much of the criticism for what happened at the end of last year. Like, his growth has been such an incredible story to watch. And look, like, I think it's one of the reasons I think Purdue's in really good hands beyond this year, right? I think a lot of people feel like this is the end of the window. And I agree that this is their best chance to go win a championship. You're here, it's a Final Four. But, man, like, Braden Smith's not going anywhere. Fletcher Lawyer's not going anywhere. They're recruiting at a high level. Like, Braden Smith is going to step up and be an All-American next year, and Purdue is not going to fall off a cliff.
And remind me of Smith's recruiting background a little bit, because I remember talking about this last year.
He was a 3-star kid. He was a guy that
5-star kid.
Right. He was a kid. I mean, look, Matt Painter says all the time, he loves to talk about evaluating. Like, it's all about evaluating with Matt Painter, right? He's not recruiting, he's evaluating. And they went out and identified very early that Braden Smith was the type of kid that could help their program. He compared him to Peyton Pritchard a lot last year. And
Pritchard.
When he said that,
Peyton Pritchard,
I was like, I don't know if I buy this. And then then Braden Smith showed up and was a starting point guard in the Big Ten as a freshman, which is very, very hard to do.
And he struggled some.
Yes, he learned.
Peyton Pritchard is tough. I mean, I mean, I guess maybe, I don't know. I mean, Peyton Pritchard is a semi-rotational NBA piece. Do we see Braden Smith as that? I don't know.
I'm not sure I'm there, but when that was said,
he's on a second deal, by the way.
When that was said was before Braden's freshman year, and Painter had coached Braden Smith in college with a Team USA team. He thought that they were similar in kind of their makeup, how they could contribute.
I'll tell you this.
I think he's talking about maybe their toughness and how
I don't think he's as talented as Peyton.
Yeah, his mental makeup. Because the way you got to give Braden Smith credit is there were times last year he looked a little bit uncomfortable against pressure.
It's true.
And now he's passed that test with straight A's. I mean, he's blown that away. He's shown you he can handle pressure in key moments and make the right play. And then the other guy I think we're not talking about is Jones and what he's done to this team. Lance Jones has provided a secondary ball handler, and then he's also as a defender. He can take some erratic shots, but he's also a guy that defends the most athletic wings on the other team that gives them a level of toughness.
You know what my takeaway was? It was actually the first coach that we got to talk to today. Kevin Keats' whole attitude, he was just happy as could be. He talked about how he told the guys before practice, 50-50 business and pleasure today. Tomorrow, 75 business, 25% pleasure. Saturday, you're 100% business. But he had his players take out their phones when they got inside the football stadium. He said, fellas, take a picture. Capture this moment. He said, we need to have a little bit of fun. I loved his demeanor.
Fanta. One, he coaches DJ Burns. So if he coaches DJ Burns, it ain't but so serious you can have it because he's coaching DJ Burns. Second thing is, he was fired a month ago, and then now he's got a 2-year extension that may go to 2 to 3 more years. So there's a lot to be happy about in Raleigh.
You know, Zach Edey said today in the locker room, and I thought this was really interesting. He said, right now, the country is talking about DJ Burns as this, and I can say this as a bigger gentleman here, you know, as this big refrigerator who just kind of goes around the post. No, Zach Edey goes, no. It's disrespectful how people are talking about how good of a player this kid is, because he is that good of a player.
He is. I don't think it's by accident. You've seen him. He embraces it and he jokes about it. So I think everybody else feels comfortable about it, because you don't expect a guy who's built the way he is to move and play the way he plays. And he uses it to his advantage.
How did you think NC State would be coming into this season?
I didn't think their guard play. I thought that, having Jaquel Joyner and Tarquavian Smith last year, they were as good as a backcourt as there was in the country. Flat out buckets. Yep. They could flat out score it. And so that made his job a lot easier. I thought DJ Burns had more responsibility on him this year. Though they brought in Horns, they didn't have the 2 guards that they can just give the ball to, and they played off each other. I thought Horn was one. The other guards all offered something different, but they together. They didn't offer the explosion that Tarquavian Smith had. They didn't offer the defense ability that Jaquel Joyner had.
You saw the talent, right? Like, I saw it up close. I saw him in practice. You see the talent. And kind of when you, take a deep dive into the season, you see, Burns was some games he didn't start, and Horns played 10 minutes against certain teams. And so I think there was some internal turmoil going on. Even when Burns talked about how, man, I don't know what's going on. Guys are showing up on time. That is a crazy statement. For college.
They got better by guys, how do they say, by addition by subtraction.
Yes. And so it looks like everyone just said, look, winning makes everybody feel better. It cures all. So they won those games. I think everybody bought in, and this proves that what that talent ceiling could be, because I think they're at peak. They're at their top.
I think the one thing that I give them so much credit for, and I think it starts with Keats, because Keats is the leader of this group. How many teams did we see down the stretch of the season quit this year, right? Everybody's worried about the portal. How am I going to get my next check? How am I going to go advance my own personal interest? They lose 4 in a row to end the year. Everybody's talking hot seat. There is so little focus on what this team could actually do. And look, I know it took a little while in the ACC tournament to really get going, but they deserve a ton of credit for showing up to that event, believing that they could win, believing that they could compete, and giving it 100% effort, right? No. Nobody mailed it in. Those dudes came in, they said, we're going to fight for as long as it takes, and they've kept fighting to the Final Four.
No greater example than you're down by 6 with less than a minute to go against Virginia, and you find a way to win that game.
Do you know what's been great about this run with them, though? Outside of DJ Burns and DJ Horn, both DJs, everyone throughout this run, through the ACC tournament and the NCAA, everyone has had a game that has been big to help them, from Diarra to O'Connell to Casey Morcell. Everyone has chipped in. Taylor, all these guys have chipped in and had their moments. Middlebrook have all just had massive games to help them get to the Final Four.
I want to have a quick discussion and get back to the games, because I've got ACC guys around me. And obviously you've made it known, don't disrespect the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Put some respect on it. You know what I said.
That's right, and I appreciate that. What I want to know is this: as guys said, care and love the league so much. When these coaches sit down, and then I'll get to you on this. When these coaches sit down in the spring and summer, in what ways can your league go from 4 or 5 to getting back to the 8-9 bids? What needs to happen for this league to not just produce an NCAA tournament run, but we're talking about them in January, February, that, man, the ACC is a great, great, great league?
I think it's out of conference. I think that's the reason Pitt doesn't get in. I think NC State steals a bid from the ACC as well. But just out of conference games. Those are your games that's why Clemson got in. If they would have had a bad out of conference and had to, they wouldn't have gotten to the tournament. So
they had UAB, Alabama, Memphis. They played a bunch of. I looked at like 5 teams on their non-conference that made the
they didn't have a great conference season, but they built up equity.
They beat North, and they got a couple. They beat at UNC at Chapel Hill.
Is the league missing somewhere?
Well, it's changes, right? You got to realize. Let's go back to the Big East a year ago. Was Big East not probably arguably the best league in a year ago?
It's awesome.
They were right there.
Next to the Big 12.
Next to the Big 12. They were considered. They were right there. Xavier was good. They had so many good programs. And then this year they get 3 teams in.
Right.
Now we can argue more should have been. ACC
one
even got
more should have.
Seton Hall, I think, without question, should have gotten in.
Congratulations to the Pirates.
But ACC ends up getting 5 teams in. And so after that, I think it changes from year to year. I just think the ACC consistently has been put in that space of where it's down. And even this year, no one is saying that about the Big East, and they only got 3 teams.
Let me call it what it is here. It's time for Louisville basketball to stop being a joke.
Look, I think so much of it is that the brands in this conference are under transition, right? Louisville being so down has hurt the league a ton, but Duke and Carolina are finding who they are post-K and post-Roy, right? Like, I think right now a lot of the brands in this league are starting to find their identity again, right? I think Wake is growing and Forbes has this thing going in the right direction. Can NC State build on this run with Keats, right? I think Capel's done a phenomenal job the last 2 years.
Great pickup today, by the way, NC State.
Absolutely. With Huntley Hatfield. He will be a big piece.
Boeheim had NC State going to the Final Four, by the way, in his bracket.
That's crazy.
He did.
That's crazy.
He also had North Carolina going, and I think another ACC team.
He just picked Clemson. He picked all the ACC teams.
No, seriously. He said he loves the ACC.
No, he nailed it.
Yeah.
Hey, I love this question. Who would you put your money on to win a national championship sooner, Duke or Carolina?
If I had to put my money on, I'm a betting man.
You're asking a North Carolina guy if Duke or Carolina.
Listen, I picked Arizona to go to the Final Four. I got so many screenshots. So I'm going to go North Carolina only because the model that they're using, I may be a little biased, but I am biased. The model that they're using, I don't know. Duke has a bunch of young guys coming in.
No, I like what you're saying. I thought he had.
Now, Duke's going to look like an NBA team next year, but I don't know if they're going to win.
Hey, Hubert Davis had a great year this year, and he's coached in a national championship game. Is it Carolina over Duke, or do you think Cooper Flagg and Duke are going to do it?
I would say if you're going to ask me who might get there quicker, then I would have to. If I had to put my money on it, then I'm going to say Duke only because Armando Bacot's not going to be there. We don't know what this team's going to look like.
I think Duke has a chance to be special next year.
Yeah, like Duke, we see the pieces to the puzzle already there next year. Like we know the incoming class. Will Roach be back? They got a lot of decisions they got to make like everybody else. We look at Carolina next year and we don't know. We know they got some talented freshmen coming in, but what does a Carolina team look like with Armando Bacot?
Who's their big? I mean, Jalen Washington is a full-time guy.
And he's a face-up big, right?
Yeah,
he's more of a perimeter face-up guy.
And you need a big in this age.
You need a big.
Kevin
Keats said that today.
Yeah.
He's like, everyone's going to be recruiting for bigs.
The thing I would say with Carolina, I think Hubert showed a lot this year in that he had to redefine who they were and find ways to look, I think he knew that the formula last year didn't work, and how did he have to switch that up and be more focused on role players who fit into a system and wanted to contribute to winning and didn't need all the credit, right? I think him learning that through this year will help this program get back to a Final Four and win a national championship. I know this year wasn't the year. RJ obviously had a brutal game in a big moment, but I thought there was a ton of growth from Hubert Davis as a coach this year and proved a lot of things. There was a lot said about what Hubert did in 22-23. Like, yes, the criticism was earned, but it wasn't necessarily fair. And I think Hubert proved a lot of those people wrong with the way that they turned this around.
It's fair when you're the head coach. It's always fair. It's fair. It's always fair when you're the head coach because that's just what the job requires. And you go preseason number 1 and you don't make it. Hubert knows that. I think he responded this year, obviously showing that he's what we think he's what we thought he would be, and he is. I just think the biggest thing, again, we don't know what this team is going to look like. We don't know how they're going to adjust without Armando Bacot. Let's be honest. I mean, he's taken over and had some really talented players. Now, he's recruiting well, but what is it going to look like without the big guy in the middle? And we don't know yet.
Who defensively, he was so special down the stretch, guarding people. I mean, he did so many little things that weren't on the stat sheet. So it's going to be big. question about that anchor.
To your point, I thought the biggest jump that they made was him talking about Hubert was getting Armando Bacot to be unselfish because he went from being a focal point of a team like Zach Edey touches to hey, I don't even need to get the ball.
Right.
And that's the credit I don't think Armando Bacot gets. His maturity and his growth, and that's what I'm saying. It's hard to replace that. Like that is to get arguably your best player coming in. R.J. Davis obviously wins Player of the Year, but if Armando Bacot is in an unselfish way saying, hey, he's okay with R.J. Davis getting these touches, getting this run, his unselfishness is why that team went as far as they did. Did they come up short? Yes, but why they got the number 1 seed, and that's a lot to replace.
The three of us were at Peach Jam and had the call for a variety of games, but we had Cooper Flagg.
Right.
Cooper Flagg coming to Duke. Do you think the hype is in a good place? Do you think it's going to be out of control? What's your honest expectation for Cooper Flagg at Duke?
Look, I think it's going to be out of control, but I think it's great for college basketball, right? I think it's going to be.
Can he do it? Can he handle it?
I think he's handled everything so far, right?
Can he live up to the hype?
I mean, I don't know what the standard's going to be. If the standard's National Player of the Year, no, that's not fair, right? But I think he can be. I think he will be a dominant college basketball player next year. He will be as good of a freshman as we have seen in a very long time because of the way he impacts the game.
He's just a match for college. He's a pro. And
but
for
what
college,
about the shot?
I think you guys are because let me say this.
Matchup nightmare for him.
He's a matchup, but he's not the scorer that you guys are associating or we're thinking when we say dominance. And so he's not going to be a guy that's going to come in and give you 20 points. Is he going to be really good? He is. Yeah. But I'm just saying as far as expectations for him. Yeah. I'm not saying he's not going to have a great freshman year. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm saying a lot of people will buy into the hype without knowing what his game is.
Yes.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's fair.
So he's going to get there, and you're going to think, oh, he's a bucket, and he's this great offensive guy, and he is great, but he's great because he do so many other things.
Right.
That are stuff
Two-way
the stat
blocks,
sheet. Yes,
rebounds,
weak side blocking, running the lane.
Plays hard,
He's going to do all
yeah,
those things.
yeah.
Pass. It's not going to be, oh, give me the ball, and I'm going to drop 20, 25 a night. That's not his strength, and that's not what this team is going to look like.
We could talk more about this as the week goes on. We got 5 minutes left on this show. I want you to make your case. All right, I'm going to challenge this panel here of experts, whether it's Alabama or NC State. Make a case for the upset and how it could happen in this Final Four.
I'll make my case for NC State only because defensively I think the NC State guards mano-a-mano can potentially give that Purdue guard front a little bit of an issue. And maybe Burns somehow, some way figures out how to cook Zach Edey. I don't know. But I don't think either of those teams have a chance. I mean, I think –
Really?
I just –
2 blowouts?
I wouldn't say blowouts, but we'll call it wire-to-wire wins.
I think the better chance of upset, I think, is NC State. I think we all would agree to that. I say that because I think that they're willing to play zone, and even when you play Purdue, their style of play isn't to run you out of the gate. You know, they'll play more of a slow it down, throw it inside, drop it, and I think that methodical, they just body punch you to death, will keep NC State around and allow them to be in a game.
I think Purdue's the more vulnerable team. That's fair. I think the one thing I'll say with the Alabama-UConn matchup is, and this is not me giving Dan Hurley any motivation. I'm not saying.
Are you about to say Dan Hurley can't get? Okay, no, go ahead.
I'm not saying they haven't seen this before, but Alabama's style is not like any other team in college basketball, right? There are very few teams that are going to space you out the way that they do, that are going to run and attack, and it takes some time to adjust. And if they can somehow pull Donovan Clingan away from the basket, mitigate his impact on the game, all of a sudden you make a couple threes, you apply some game pressure, things get interesting.
You hear that, Dan Hurley? You hear that?
I'm not.
Sweeney just said you guys can't guard 5 out. Upset, you're on upset alert.
That's the problem.
Upset alert.
That's the field of 68 upset alert. UConn.
Field of 68
Rob,
upset alert.
Rob,
there's panel members now that are suggesting
just put UConn on the field of 68 upset alert.
Put y'all on upset alert. He said UConn hadn't guarded 5 out like this, and that they're gonna knock down some threes, and you guys are in trouble.
You guys are in big trouble.
Now you know what I want to know.
He predicted the upset.
Hey, he called his shot. Hey.
Not what I said.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob, he called his shot, Rob.
Which underdog team has a better chance?
Can I talk to Sweeney first?
Please.
Hey, he called this.
Can I talk to Sweeney first?
Go ahead, Dauster, please.
Sweeney, I want you to break down. Yeah, I'm sorry about
Oh,
that.
you're good.
I'm sorry about that. John Henson needs his drink. Sweeney, I want to ask you this. Have you seen Alabama play defense at all?
I have,
this year?
yeah, plenty.
You've watched them play?
Yeah.
You've watched them play, okay. How will Alabama get a single stop against a UConn team that is going to run all those sets? How are they going to do it?
So
He said
my
he
take
said,
was
I'm gonna tell
simply
him what
this.
He said their best defense is their offense. He don't want to hear that. He called this upset.
Here's the thing. UConn has not
He's
felt
calling them
real.
He must have been listening to the first segment of the show.
UConn has not
RC.
felt real game pressure.
He's calling the
in
2023
this
Sacramento
tournament.
Kings. Best
Alabama led by 12 against Purdue. They led by 6 against Creighton and 6 against Arizona early in the season, right? They hit you with these barrages of threes. If they do that early to UConn and put some pressure on, and all of a sudden they can try to hold on with just enough stops, again, I'm not saying it's happening. I think UConn wins this game. I think UConn and Purdue both roll. But if you made me make the case for UConn,
I asked for you to make the case.
It's this, right? Like if I'm making the case for Alabama, they're very dynamic, they're very unique to play against, and if they can strike lightning quick, take an early lead, and put some pressure on, we haven't seen how UConn will handle that.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
They were tied at half, weren't they?
As much as I want to hate on Sweeney, I said this last night, and you guys jumped all over me. I think Alabama is the more likely upset of the two because I think the matchup, you correct me if I'm wrong here, Henson, the matchup between NC State and Purdue is about as bad as you can get for NC State. Like, I think so much of what they do.
About that.
Hey, man, go finish your beer, man.
I already did.
Go finish your
I
beer.
already
Go
did.
get him a beer.
Then go get another one.
Go get another
I
one.
already did. That's why I'm
Switch
saying
the
what
beer.
I'm saying.
Pink pineapple
I already did.
haze.
That's why I'm saying
Good
what I'm
stuff. You guys come in.
But I think that so much of what NC State does, and I want your opinion on this, Henson. So much of what
I said NC State could upset.
So much of
More
what
than
NC State does
Alabama.
is getting DJ Burns touches in the post and making you make a decision. You got to play one-on-one against him, and he's going to get a bucket or get a foul. Or you got to send 2 at him, and he's going to pick you apart because he's going to find wherever that pass is, and he's going to sit there with his back, and he's going to throw that little lefty pass like this, right?
You know,
and they're not going to send 2 because Zach Edey's down there.
You know,
and he's not going to score one-on-one against.
You know
Zach
what I
Edey.
want you to do?
I don't think he will.
You know what I want you to do is.
What do you want me to do?
We have 90 seconds left.
If you stand behind Fanta. Come around here and stand behind Fanta. You don't need the mic. Put the mic down. Leave the mic down.
That's right.
Come stand behind Fanta.
This is a matchup breakdown.
It's a matchup breakdown. That's what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to
I'm
look
not
like
far
tomorrow.
off DJ Burns.
And when he turns and puts you on his hip, he's getting that shot off.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Fanta will not get a shot off on me. Let's just get that. Let's get that clear.
Now we need footage of that.
Fanta's windmilling. What are you talking about? We got footage. My guy windmills. What are you talking about?
He is windmilling.
That
is true.
I'm not getting a
That
shot
is
off.
true.
I'll jam on him. Posterization.
And one.
Let's
go.
I want to face Goodman one-on-one. I think my lateral quickness.
Goodman doesn't want that smoke.
Your lateral quickness.
We're going to have a field of 16.
You got to see Goodman throw the football. Oh, have you seen him throw a football?
Oh, he cannot throw a football, man.
It's duck shooting, man.
Hey, listen.
I cannot throw.
So you saying Goodman doesn't have an athletic bone in his body?
That's true.
Well, we have 60 seconds.
I've seen his jump shot. I have it on video. It is Henson.
He's got to stick to the inside the portal.
He's got to stick to the jump
portal
hooks.
updates.
Coming up on tomorrow's show.
Stick to the hot seat, Goodman.
Stick to the hot seat.
We'll discuss more on where Tony Bennett stands in coaches in college basketball. Randolph Childress has him on the Mount Rushmore. Kevin Sweeney doesn't even have him in the top 50.
It's not what I said either.
You did say. Oh, I forgot about that. Can we talk about that for 15 seconds?
Jeff
Kevin Sweeney said that Tony Bennett
did not say it. Didn't say it.
For Mr. Hotballs, for Dagan Hughes, for Trevor Valise, for John Henson, for Randolph Childress, for Kevin Sweeney, for Rob Dauster, I'm John Fanza.
See you tomorrow.
4 to 7 at Huss Brewery. Come
Love
see
y'all.
us tomorrow.